Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Board Game Design Variety Hour. I'm your host, Matthew Dunstan. Thanks everybody for joining on this Friday evening, Friday afternoon, Friday morning, Saturday morning, depending on where you are in the world. Yeah, it's always nice to be able to come by and just chat and hang out with all of you. How is everyone going? End of another week, maybe the end of the year for some people, I guess, in terms of work, depending on when you finish work or not. Hey Rob, how you going? Welcome. Yeah, I guess my work year as a scientist is coming to a close. Probably won't be working that much next week. Maybe one or two things, but not too much. And on the game design front, also probably winding down slowly with that as well. So yeah, hopefully everyone else is also getting to wind down a little bit, relax. Hi Robert, how you going? Yeah, so I have to admit today, I think there's something in me that has just like transitioned after, that feeling after you work quite steadily and hard at something, and then you get that little bit of break, and you just slow down. So I've started slowing down a little bit. So I think today is going to be a bit of a chill kind of stream, I expect. I don't have like a big topic necessarily to talk about like I did the last few times, like the contract thing we chatted about on Monday. So it's going to be a bit more of a mixed bag, I guess. But that means it's sort of up for grabs if anyone in chat wants to talk about anything in particular, feel free to say. Rob's working 3 days next week, but we're not doing any non-emergency changes, so it should be pretty easy going. Okay, yeah, no, I'm glad it hopefully won't be too difficult. And yeah, because it's crazy to think Christmas is a week away. It always always sort of creeps up on me every year, even in this instance. Yeah, it's things are going well. I recorded a video for Devir, which is a Spanish publisher and distributor who works with Cosmos, and they wanted like a little video, like short video for promoting the adventure games, or just or saying thank you for the adventure games or something, or enjoy them in the holidays. So I tried unsuccessfully to get I had bought like a cheap kind of tripod for my phone, and it didn't kind of work, sadly. So that was a bit of fun today. Hey Nicola, how you going? I was just saying, Nicola, it's going to be a bit of a relaxed chat today. Hey Jay, how you going? Welcome. Yeah, so in terms of no particular news, as you got your tea ready, I've also got my tea ready. What are you drinking, Jay? What tea is your tea of choice? Yeah. Yes, tea is good. No, I definitely have a very set time every day, usually about 11 o'clock in the morning, where I don't have to have a cup of tea, but it has certainly become one of the sort of lockdown or working from home sort of routines that I follow very religiously almost. Earl Grey, you're afraid? No, that's a good choice. But that's my favorite. That's what I'm drinking as well. It's my favorite tea. I guess you have something else that's more preferable that maybe you'd run out of or whatever. Yeah. So it's and also as the years are winding down, it also means that working with publishers and things is winding down as well, and had the news a few projects that again are getting pushed back a bit, which is kind of normal around. Yorkshire tea, very nice. I find it's really weird for me. Actually, Yorkshire tea is almost too strong, to be honest. Although I like it, but Earl Grey is just a little softer for me. Shortbread is a good. I've been continuing to work my way through my Marks and Spencer's mince pies, which I was very glad to be able to get here in Prague, which are particularly delicious. I'm a big mince pies fan, but sometimes when you get cheap ones, they can taste a little bit astringent or kind of chemically almost. It's almost like they're too fermented. But these ones were just a really good balance. We've got some coffee lovers that chat with Rob. Yeah, there is an Emma. There's one that I know of. which is in the very center of Prague. So yeah, you can get, and it's a they import pretty much, I think, everything that normal MS in the UK has. So they just put labels on the back like a sticker with like the Czech ingredients, but it's actually the same product, and the front of it's all in English and everything. So yeah, we get like I get good cheddar there. We've got a Christmas pudding from there, because I want I want a little bit of the tradition I'd normally have for Christmas. And we got we get mince pies from there. Jay prefers English breakfast tea, but yeah. Oh, okay. Well, sorry that you have to make do with the less than optimal Earl Grey tea. Yeah. But in any case, but so it's nice for the Marks and Spencer to have a few tastes from home. Hey Alex, there you go. Afternoon. Yeah. So not a whole bunch of news or anything. So, I mean, if we're sort of onto the, what's my week been like as a game designer? Continue to have some meetings. I obviously on Monday signed the contract for a new game, and we kind of chatted about contracts. So that's going well. I've been doing the normal freelancer thing of trying to chase up publishers to pay me, which is a pretty normal. Well, now it's normal now that I've figured out my kind of accounting stuff here in the Czech Republic. So it's that's also my joy. Hey Rory, how you going? No worries. Come by, drop in, drop out as much as you please. We're chatting about tea and mince pies and things like that. So yeah, I'm not sure if anyone else is kind of freelancers, but it's always the fun job of trying to track people down for payments and things. But thankfully, most of them coming in. I'm just trying to either the way that the tax years work, it makes more sense to get as much of income paid this year. So I'm really trying to get things done in the next couple of weeks. It's no big problem. Most of the bigger things have come through. So thankfully, but that's been a bit of my life. Still been pushing on with the adventure games. We're doing the next iteration. I finished the second iteration of the first part that I've been working on. The other people were Phil Walker-Harding, the other designer, and Michael from Cosmos had done some playtesting, and I got their feedback and tried to incorporate that. So we're sort of working on that. Although, funnily enough, I don't know. Well, I mean, if you can't talk about it here, where can you? It's interesting. Just before I came on today, I read a little bit of a Twitter thread about the adventure games, just asking what people thought, and the most immediate responses, or at least the ones I saw, were generally okay to negative. So it's that normal, and actually some of the reply from a few people I really respect, which always makes it a little bit harder to read. But yeah, it's something normal. You have to kind of get used to, I guess, in the kind of game design world. Not everyone's going to like every game, but that's perfectly fine. Although, you can't help but even like question yourself a little bit. It's like, are these games actually any good or not? It's obviously a bit hard to be objective about these things. I mean, anyway, who can be objective about games? You enjoy them or not? But yeah, so that was a bit that brings you a bit down to earth, which is always useful. But no, that's fine. And it's no ill will to the people involved, because I think they were making very fair, reasonable points and things like that. So that could also help to make things better in the future. But yeah, so and I think what else in terms of and it's mainly been also trying to sort of chase up publishers for answers about various projects. Obviously this year has been quite difficult and tough for a lot of publishers, which I really understand. But it's just trying to get a bit of information. I always, I'm not sure if I've talked about it on the stream before, but I always think it's interesting, the comparison between a publisher and a game designer. Like, I mean, working in the game industry has, there's a lot of uncertainty and you don't know how well a product will do at any time. But I was sort of dwelling on the idea of like information asymmetry between publishers and designers. That like you might, for instance, in the example where a publisher is publishing one of my games, and just thinking about the different experience going through that process, because usually the publisher at every point is going to know what's going on with the project. It might not be going forward, but they know it's not going forward, or you know, they're making decisions about various things. But as a designer, it's the same thing. You're going through the development of the game and talking about that, but you don't really know. You don't have all that information half the time. You know, there's long periods of time where you don't hear anything from publishers, and that's perfectly normal. I can't really, you know, it's not something I hate publishers for, but it's interesting because it's a very different experience. I think it's the one major difference in terms of working on these games. You know, that as a designer, you really are, you're kind of starved for information a lot of the time, and you're kind of like waiting to hear about things a lot of the time, and that's just kind of the way of the world, the way it goes. But it was interesting to kind of just realize that. Yeah, Alex. Oh yeah. Oh, that's rough. 35 out of 55. I mean, did they give you like some good? Yeah, as Rob said, like what was the criteria? Did they give you some more specific feedback, or did you just get a score? Or yeah, oh, 35th out of 55. Okay, but yeah, do you get any feedback at all? Like, do you anything? Solo pin play. It was solo print and play contest. I spent a bit too long on the graphics and too many rough edges, to be honest. Okay, well, I mean, is it something that you feel like you want to keep working on, or you know that you kind of see where those problems were, maybe? And yeah, okay, still something you'd like to develop. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, I guess if you know that you know you rushed it out a little bit and you could see the kind of issues, then it's maybe easier. Well, it's never easy to you know, to be rejected or to you know, do badly or to hear bad reviews of your games or anything like that. But at least you know, at least there's something you feel like you can move on with it, even if it's just you realizing that rather than anybody else saying that. I mean, it's just like a playtest, right? There aren't, you know, there can be really bad playtests or where people really don't like the game. But yeah, if they give you some idea of where you can improve or what you can change, or give you like kind of an actionable direction, then they're still kind of useful, even if they're a bit hard to experience at the time, or you don't really feel like it. So yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, it's I guess, yeah, but at the same time, I mean, the great thing about contests is they get you to kind of even get something done and get something on the page or release something, which maybe you wouldn't have tried to do before. It was a bit, you know, I really liked in Cambridge we had this, we had weekly playtests, and that was a big drive for me to keep working on games every week, because I knew I would be coming back to a playtest. I needed something new to show, and yeah, sometimes you'd put something on the table and very quickly you would know that, and it wasn't that you were just finding out that it was bad. You probably suspected that, oh, I wish I could have worked on this a bit more. But even just getting used to putting something on the table each week, you know, on average things are going to be okay, or you're going to get, you know, that you're going to get some useful feedback, I guess. But yeah, sorry, you say that you've got some good feedback to work from. So okay, great. Well, then that's fantastic. I mean, it sounds like I've heard about the kind of print and play, solo print and play kind of community, that it seems to be a really healthy one, in that a lot of people give up time in terms of both designing things and giving feedback on other people's designs. So that's a really great community kind of aspect, and that's really important. Rob says, I worried about competitions and have avoided them. I'd worry that whoever came 55th, yeah, 55 out of 55 might be put off totally. Yeah, I guess I didn't know. Yeah, see you, Rory. Take care. Yeah, it's a tricky one, I guess. I mean, maybe it's easier if they kind of like competitions which more sort of highlight the best games, say like these are the top 5 games, and then the rest of these games didn't make it. And if they can give feedback as well, then that's great. Maybe they don't need to like rank things, you know, all the way down. You know, I agree with you. Maybe you don't, once you get to like maybe the bottom half, you know, it's not so useful to have, you know, what's the difference between coming 35th and 45th, for example, really? Like, I mean, it's the feedback they're giving you that's much more important or much more worthwhile. So yeah, I do take your point. I mean, I think the thing I just always try and keep in mind through all of this is that it's, you know, just as you like lots of different games and you have a lot of different opinions, and your opinion's different for other people's, you got to realize that, yeah, just for every negative opinion you hear, there may very well be a positive experience. And also that not only like us psychologically negative things will stick out more for us, you remember more the negative feedback, but also even in the way that those views get talked about, or like, you know, playtesters often, are driven more to sometimes driven more about what they didn't like than saying about what they did like, or same for reviewers or things like this. So yeah, sometimes it's selective both from what's being written and from what you're kind of hearing and holding on to. So, but it's tricky, and it definitely. I don't believe anybody who sort of says, you've completely got a like if you don't feel it anymore, or if you I'm so experienced, it's now water's off a duck's back or something like that. I don't think that to me sounds like, I don't think you can't, like, every game you put something into it. And I think as long as you're passionate about it and enjoying it, then the reverse of that kind of emotional attachment is obviously it's going to also hurt when people say things that are, negative or whatever about a game. So I think, yeah, it's also expected that, like, it's great that I still am emotionally attached to this, that I'm involved with, I'm passionate about it, and that's kind of part of the cost of it as well. Yeah, it's still a big deal to finish off. Often that's the most important. Yeah, so with the competition I was talking about before, and the interesting is, maybe I'll show it actually on stream a little bit later. So yesterday we were supposed to have the last playtesting session for the Cambridge group, which is virtual now. And about 2 hours before, I was like, oh, I don't have anything to playtest. And I had a few ideas that I'd sort of been noodling around with. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to make one. And I did make a game. It's not been playtested yet. But I can show it off maybe if people are interested on the stream. And it's, again, even just that kind of little bit of motivation, like that wasn't like a huge motivation. We didn't even know how many people were going to show up for the playtest. And in the end, it actually didn't end up happening. But yeah, that any motivation when you're working on these things that don't have deadlines is very useful. Yeah, Rob says, I came pretty much at the bottom with a war game a couple of years ago. The exercise was good though. Yeah, and I mean, I think, with different competitions, at the end of the day, if you just see it as it's another step along the way to finishing a game and making a better game, it's not the end point, then that's useful. I think I read something somewhere that, I don't know where I read it, but somebody had done some analysis of even competition, like quite large, like, the Cardboard Edison design competition, which I know has hundreds of entries and various things. And they'd looked at all the entries maybe over the last 2 or 3 years that had placed like highly or had won or come in the top, whatever, top 5. And actually very few of them had been published. And that's not to say that they're not good games, but it's just also to kind of, the competitions aren't everything. There's a lot of things that go into whether a game's going to get made or finished, and yeah, it's tricky. Yeah, you're right, Robert. Deadlines are the best motivation to get something done. It's yeah, it's the way I work to it. And now, I now have a stream every week, twice a week, that I need to get something done to show off so that I can look like I'm not taking a full week off or to keep things interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, one thing I thought I would very quickly talk about, we can have a slightly returning segment of the mini review, because I think probably the next, so I will stream next Monday. I won't stream a week from today because that's Christmas. And I probably will stream, both Mondays coming up. And then I guess the Friday is going to be either New Year's Day or the 2nd, and I may or may not stream then. But I guess some of the streams ahead, I might sort of talk about, looking back on the year, both in what I played and what I've designed, and and all these sort of things. And I was sort of starting to think about that, and I thought I would talk about my most played game of the year by far, which is Point Salad. I just saw it. Wait, there's another thing. Quite a few games for the Solid Play have been published now, smaller releases. Okay, well that's good to. But I mean, there's lots of games that are getting entered, right? I mean, it's good that there are a few being published, but it's just to remember that it's not the be all and end all, I guess. But yeah, it's tricky. Yeah, so Point Salad. I will check on because I got back onto the board game stats wagon this year. So I'm not sure if people know the BG Stats app, which is really useful. And I'm also using it to track when I play prototypes, although I've fallen off a little bit slightly, because it's like if you're trying a game with a collaborator, is that a playtest or not? If you're showing it to a publisher, etc. But yeah, I've played Point Salad 62 times this year, which is more than basically like triple any other game I've played. And of course, it's a shorter game, which makes sense and can be played with two, which are sort of the main criteria to get a game played a lot. But I guess I just wanted to chat about it a little bit. A few really interesting design aspects with Point Salad. So for those who don't know Point Salad, it's a very simple game in that it's 108 cards, I believe. I'll check the rules. Yeah, 108 double-sided cards. That's it. So that's the game. Also really portable. Like I stick it in a deck box or something, and I can, it has a kind of a bigger box with, enough for both decks, but it's way too much room. But anyway, every card on one side is a particular fruit or vegetable, and there are 6 types. There's onion, lettuce, tomato, carrots, cabbage, which is purple. I'm trying to show it, and peppers, which are yellow. Like, whoops, I'm going the wrong way. It's funny trying to look at myself. Anyway, so that's on one side. On the other side, you have a point scoring condition. So, this has cabbage on one side. Then the other side, you have a point condition. So this is, you need every pair of a lettuce and an onion gives you 5 points. And the way the game works is you're basically drafting a collection of a certain amount of vegetables and a certain amount of point cards. Really, really simple. There's like 6 vegetables out in a display, and there are 3 point cards. You either take 1 point card or 2 vegetables. That's it. And then you kind of refill. And the game keeps going until all the cards have gone. So that's basically how you play. There's one other little trick which is kind of cool. You can always see on a point card what's on the back. So there's a little symbol of a tomato, and there's a tomato on the back. Once a turn, in addition to the normal cards you take, you can flip 1 point card into the vegetable on the other side. But it's permanent. If it's a vegetable, it never goes back to being a point card, because sometimes there are some cards which give you negative points. So, for example, this card will give you 3 points per pepper, but you'll lose 2 points for every cabbage. And maybe you might have taken that earlier in the game, and it's not scoring you many points or even negative points. You can flip it back to get rid of it. So that's how the game works. Rob saying, I really just like in-joke game titles like this one, or Meeple anything, which probably unfairly made me think about twice. Yeah, I think I might have been in the same boat, because this was released at like Gen Con when it was on in 2019. And I remember, and the look is it's nice, it's clean, but I don't know. Yeah, I agree. I was like, oh, is this any good? Is it, is it a gimmick? But it's amazing. I am like it's so simple. You can teach it in 20 seconds or something like that. But I love a couple of things more. Than I love the really simple set collection, but that actually it's quite divergent in that the general arc of the game can be quite different depending on how you play, because of this flexibility. In a lot of like say cubes and contracts games, where you're kind of collecting resources and you cash them in for a contract or something like that, you have a very similar kind of tempo in how the game progresses. The early part of the game is you get resources, and then you cash them in for a contract, and then you collect more resources, cash them in for a contract, and you have this kind of this arc and this tempo that's very familiar, but it's quite similar from game to game. And in Point Salad, even though the game is very, very simple, I feel like I should maybe I can put it here or something so people can see it. The game is really simple, but actually the way it plays can diverge quite quickly. And that's mainly just because there is complete flexibility in terms of the relative ratio of point cards to vegetable cards that you end up taking. Because every turn you're either taking a point card or 2 vegetable cards. And you can keep, it's a completely free choice. There's no constraint. I don't have to have a certain number of point cards to have vegetable cards. It's completely up to me. And because every vegetable counts for every point card, with the cubes and contracts kind of system, I have to collect these resources, and then they're assigned to this contract. Then I collect these resources assigned to this contract. So it's kind of a fixed ratio of the stuff I take and how I score it. Whereas in this game, you could, for example, take like 4 vegetable cards and then just take all point cards. And if all those point cards are reading those 4 vegetables you have, you can still get a very good score. I've seen games where, you do take a lot of point cards and very few vegetables. And on the other hand, I sometimes see games where you have very few point cards and lots of vegetables. You really do see a really big variance in that, and and it works either way, you know. And when you start the game, you don't know what it's going to be. That there's this wonderful little bit of like exploration. You're like, I don't what is it going to look like this time, which is really cool. This doesn't sound like how Jeff Kornberg explained it. Who's Jeff Kornberg? Have I missed some sort of reference, or is it to do with corn, or no? Am I? Is it a collaboration design? Yes, I should have said that. It's a co-design between Molly Johnson, Robert Melvin, and Sean Stankovich, who are known collectively as Flat Out Games, and they've all Flat Out collab, and they've started also publishing games. So they're also the design. They're designed together, as far as I know. They've recently released Truffle Shuffle with AEG again. And they also publish other designers' games. So Calico was one of their first, I think it was their first game published, and they recently also kickstarted. I've now forgotten. It's like Pacific Northwest or something. It's with like the little animal tokens. It's Cascadia. Cascadia, I think it's called. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, so they're sort of like the sort of puzzly kind of designs, but usually very simple and interesting. So yeah, back to why I like Point Salad so much. Jeff is the Dragon's Tomb YouTube channel. This thing is doing rules wrong explanation videos. Oh, okay, all right, okay. I shall check him out. So yeah, the first is the variation in how the game plays out based on those mixture of how many points cards that you have to number of vegetables. The second thing is it actually plays really well at different player counts. It plays from 2 to 6 players, and it plays really well at 2. Most of my games have been at 2, but it also works really well even at higher player counts. I've definitely played it at 5. I may have played one game at 6, but I haven't played many 6, but like a number of like 4 and 5 player games. And basically you scale the deck. You have 3 vegetables of each type per player. So there's like a little bit of setup, but it's very minimal in terms of you having to just count out, you know, get a certain amount of random vegetables per player. But not only does it play well at each of the counts because you roughly are collecting the same number of cards, it actually is subtly different at different player counts, because basically as you go to higher and higher player counts, you can have more and more divergent like collections. And by that I mean in a 2-player game there's only 6 of each of the vegetables, so that's like 6 is the maximum you can get of a particular vegetable. And because a certain number of the cards are like, you know, like 2 points for every carrot, so in a 2-player game that's a maximum of 12 points if you get all 6 carrots. But in like a 6-player game there are 18 carrots in the deck, so actually those cards, so it actually changes the subtle value of the different goals, because there are goals which are very much like this, which are like points per, you know, vegetable. And then there are sort of combinatorical ones where you have to have, you know, a certain set of different vegetables which give you a set of points. And basically the ones that want you to have a lot of the same get more powerful at higher player counts, and the ones that want you to have a combination of different ones are more powerful at the lower counts because they're easier to make work. So that variability is really cool. It makes you, it's always like something new it subtly changes what's valuable, which I really like. But it doesn't detract from the play experience. You know, the play is still very, very easy, very quick, and, you know, really, really engaging and enjoyable. The other thing I wanted to say quickly is I think it does a really good job of doing interaction, but in a very simple way. Basically, you have a grid of 6, like 2 rows of 3 cards, which are the vegetables, and then you have 3 point card stacks arranged above essentially a column of 2 cards. And when you take vegetable cards, you flip from those goal stacks to fill up the spaces. And this means that you can, especially in a 2-player game, you can sort of negatively interact with your opponent. If there's a goal that's on the table that you know is good for them, but you don't really want to take because it's not very good for you, you can make sure to take a vegetable that's in the same column, and so you know when it will essentially get rid of that goal, it will flip into the space, which is quite useful, because it gives you a way to interact with your opponent, not necessarily by taking the thing they want, but by kind of denying them the opportunity. You can also very subtly, and a lot of this stuff is much more prevalent in 2 players because it's so, you know, it's only 1 turn between each of your turns, and you're able to sometimes you know, if you know that your opponent really wants a particular vegetable type that's not present in the thing, you can try and only take point cards to not be flipping a lot of new vegetables into the supply to give them a lot of opportunity. Or you might be, you might not really know, like the point cards might not be particularly good at the moment, and like kind of nobody wants to take them because they don't fit either of the strategies. So what you can do is you can take two vegetables in the same column so that you're only changing one of the point cards rather than two. So, you know, there's a lot of like little subtle things you can do that you don't have to worry about. You know, if you're just starting the game, you just play directly. You don't have to worry about how you're you know, screwing your opponent by taking things. You could just go like, I want these vegetables, I'm going to take this. That point card looks to me, I'll take that. But as you keep playing, you can discover these little interactions. And I think that's the best of both worlds, where you have something that's really approachable. It's sort of like the different ways of reading a game. And that it doesn't force you to understand all these deeper strategic things in order to play the game. You can discover them by yourself. They emerge over multiple players. And I think that's exactly where games of this weight want to stick with. So yeah, that was sort of a whirlwind mini review of Point Salad. But yeah, it's a fantastic game. I would really recommend it to anybody, pretty much. Super portable, fairly inexpensive to buy, really easy, like, you know, you can really play with anybody. It's probably been the go-to game in terms of like, I'm playing with people who I don't know really like games or not. You can take it anywhere. You know, it's literally just that. You know, games take like 10 or 15 minutes. Really super, and you can just easy to set up, easy to play again. I mean, yeah, I played it 62 times this year. I played it this morning. I played it twice this morning. Enjoyed it. You know what I mean? There's not many games that you know, I like that, I think. So yeah, it's really special. And I don't know, I mean, I agree that kind of like the in-joke maybe is a bit of a problem, but I actually don't mind the theme in the end, because I think it was also somewhat accessible. You know, like people understand vegetables. It's not anything particularly off-putting. I mean, I guess the design maybe could look a little bit better, maybe, but I don't, you know, that's not such a big thing for me. But there's like lots of, I still am amazed even more, like that there's just all these little things to discover, and it's a really, really tight design. It wouldn't be a mini review of me without saying my slight design caveats. One thing for me that is, I wish had been covered a little bit more of the rules, is when you get to the very end of the game, there's like a little bit of confusion about basically when you run out of cards, do you flip all the point cards into the display, or do you only fill a column if there's a point guard in front of them? There's like some murkiness around that. And it is a very small thing, but especially in a two-player game, it's really important near the end, because you can force your opponent to take vegetables they don't want, for example. I wish that had kind of been explained better in the rules. They also have they use even and odd as concepts, and it's a bit confusing because zero, I still actually right now don't know whether zero is considered to be even. It would have to be even, or if it's considered neither, so it wouldn't score as even or odd. So there's a few things like that. And the only other thing is, after playing it, like I said, that like different gold cards have different values at different player counts. After playing, like I've played, I don't know how many of that is two-player. It must be at least 50 of the 62 games or something like that. There are these point cards which are essentially for triples. I'm just trying to find one like this, where you want one of each of three different types, and they give 8 points. And there's basically, I think, probably every combination of three, there's one of these cards. Well, what I didn't say, of course, is because when you're in two players, you're only using a third of the deck. So you're only using also a third of the point conditions, because every card has a different point condition. So you never know kind of what the mix is going to come out. But I suspect, in my experience after like 50 games, is that these cards are just kind of the best at two players. And it does introduce a little bit unfortunate, just a little bit of luck, because you'll always take this almost no matter what cards you have. And it comes back to that kind of distribution problem. And I think it's an interesting thing from a design point of view to think about when we think about set collection games. You know, you've got to think about, you know, what's the kind of cost of specializing versus being general. And usually in set collection games, it's much easier to have like a wide set, so to have lots of different things than have a lot of one thing. And these cards are just very quite aggressively costed. It's like 2 2 2/3 point per vegetable. Whereas even the ones that are like you need 3 of the same type to get 8 points as well. And getting 3 of the same type, especially when there's only 6 of a vegetable, is difficult, basically. So I guess that's my only like slight negative after playing this. Is like usually the person who gets more of these cards will win, not always, but you like a little bit like when I was talking about Glasgow, the train stations they become this thing that you just can't ignore in any game. Whereas pretty much all the other gold cards are, either good or bad situationally. There are a few cards, again, in 2 players that are just not very good. And the other kind of tricky thing is the negative point cards. There are often cards which will give you a lot of positive points, like 4 positive points for a particular type, but the cost for it is that 2 other types might score you negative points. And again, in 2 players, you're just more likely to take a variety of vegetables because there aren't that many of each individual type. And it makes those difficult to make work well because you kind of have to usually it's hard to avoid those vegetables. And also it really restricts what cards you can take sometimes. So it's tricky. But of course, there's also in more player games, there's sometimes you're looking to see what the person before you is doing. If they have a lot of cards that want a couple of types of vegetables, then maybe you should take the ones that will give you negative points for those because you know that the other person is going to be taking them anyway. So yeah, they're very small things, and it's like after playing a lot with the same person. But it's a very small thing, and I can definitely forgive it. But again, for being such a game that can play so well, a really wide player count without really any change in the rules. So Jay says I tried to have the contracts come up organically in one of my card games, and it didn't work. Way too swingy. I think it works here because there are always contracts available, and you flip them after you've taken them. Would you say most of the game is to pick contracts? Yeah, it was interesting actually. As I was talking about it, I thought an interesting thing to talk about design-wise with Point Salad would be the kind of flow of new contracts in the game. Because I agree, I've also in many ways, there's a lot of games where you have like an open draft of cards or like a row, and how do you make that cards come up in an interesting way? You don't want it to be too fast or too slow sometimes, or can it be under player control? What if none of the players want anything? Then how do you make sure that row is refreshed? I think it works here because the game is very quick and turns are really quick, and so it's just always evolving. But it's a really key thing, and I've been really trying to make some games that do this, where you use the output of one action to change the input of another action. So the output of taking vegetable cards results in you flipping new cards into those spots, and those reveal new contracts. So like the output of this of taking vegetables is changing the contracts available, which effectively is changing your input of the take contract action. And they're linked because when I take vegetables, I make new contracts. And of course, when I take new contracts, then I'm going to also reveal new contracts. So I love that link in the game. It's very simple. It doesn't require, there's no player action. I love anything in a game where there's something that the players naturally have to do in the action they're taking, kind of does the upkeep or the change that you need in the rest of the game. Just compare, for example, worker placement games where you have worker placement and then there's this upkeep step where everyone has to take their workers back. Compare that to some of the later games where on your turn you have a choice of placing workers or taking them back. Or even in Raiders of the North Sea, for example, where every turn you'll place a worker and take one back. I love the games there because they get rid of these kind of upkeep steps, and the player actions are kind of doing the upkeep kind of things that you need to do. And there's lots of benefits from that. There's no downtime for these upkeep steps. You're reducing the kind of number of actions that have to be taken in the game, so it's usually quicker. And also nobody ever forgets because it's baked into the action you do. And I really think that when you're designing, anytime you can do that, anytime you can use the result of an action of someone's action to influence what's available to the other players in a very natural way, it's really powerful, and it really helps in terms of speeding the game up, making it simpler. It's really fantastic. Alex says the best thing is that it's a balance. Both actions are good for you. Oh yes, in terms of taking vegetables or taking points cards, exactly, because they're both kind of making you points. Either when you take vegetables, hopefully it's helping you score more for your existing point cards. When you take a point card wall, that's going to score points for you. And I stand by what I said earlier, that it's not always that you always take more contracts than vegetables. Sometimes you have games where, this morning, Therese took mostly vegetables. Actually, she had ended up the game with like 2 contract cards, and she was very close to winning. I'd take a much more kind of balanced look at things. Sometimes you really do specialize a lot, and it all comes down to a little bit of like, what's the mix of the third? Like in a 2-player game, you're only seeing a third of those point cards. Like, what's that mix? Is it a lot more about cards that want a specific type, or are they more about cards that want a certain combination? Maybe you just got a lot of cards that score tomatoes, for example. So you could have a strategy where you get a lot of tomato point scoring cards, things like that. It's just always different, and it's okay if it doesn't quite work out or if it's not quite balanced for you, because the game's like 10 minutes or even less, basically. So I really can't say enough good things about it. I think it's done fairly well. I do hear it talked about in various places. I didn't I guess it came out last year, so it's not on like people's best of lists or things like that. But it's really fantastic, and it's just an easy recommendation to anybody, I think, because even with people who are more, who would think this is kind of a casual game, like, oh, I'm more interested in like heavier games or more strategic, there's actually still plenty in this game for people who enjoy, I think, heavier games. So that's Point Salad. long point for all of that. I realized I actually missed a little bit of, well, not news, but Monumental made the Dice Tower top 10 lists of both Tom and Mike Delisio, which was really a nice kind of little, to balance out the kind of like negative things said by people I respect. Then there were some nice things said by, which is a really good point. I've just proved my point about like what stands out more in my mind, because I've just remembered the positive thing, whereas of course the negative thing had like stood out of my mind for me to talk about it. So that was really cool. I'm glad that it found an audience. It's again, I haven't played it much myself, partially just because it takes up a certain amount of time to set up for me, and I always want to try and play something else, I guess. Oh, thanks everybody. Yeah, it's really kind of you. But I have been I guess I've also been playtesting a lot for the expansion and things like that. So it's, at the moment for me, it's a lot more like work than a game I enjoy, but it's nice to be reminded that people enjoy playing it. Of course, it's hard, it's a tricky game in that it's hard to get a hand on. It's not in distribution. You only have to get it on Kickstarter, which I think probably in the end will hurt, like in terms of like it being able to spread. But it's finding its audience, which is always really nice. And I hope there will be interesting news about the line of Monumental products from next year, which might address exactly my point about being in distribution or not. So stay tuned for some scoops next year sometime, hopefully, with that. Anyway, that is the beauty of loss aversion that we always think about. It's like the Feld effect as well, right? I love the joy of like the good classic Feld games like Notre Dame or Macau. That there's always like there are these negative points for doing certain things, and like the psychology around that is great. And I feel like there's the point in a game where you understand it well enough that like the loss aversion does it. You can just see it rationally, and you can just see it in terms of like, well, this is kind of like the cost and the effect, and maybe I'm actually getting enough positive stuff that this small negative hit still leaves me ahead of doing something else. It's always a nice feeling when you can understand that, because your way of playing it and thinking about the game changes and evolves, which is really super cool. Which I really like. So that was definitely some good news. So we'll see. If anyone is interested in Monumental, it's still on it's still on Late Pledge and will be available. Like Late Pledges are open till the end of the year, so we'll see how it goes. But it's done quite well. I'm very thankful for how it has gone. David, welcome, David. For example, David Digby, excellent game designer and game developer. If people don't know David, I think you do a lot of stuff on Facebook in terms of like talking about your projects and things, right, David? Check David out. He was the designer of the solo mode for Chocolate Factory, and is working on a lot of other solo modes and his own designs as well. But thanks for dropping by anyway. And it sounds like you've lost track of time playtesting. Nice to join live. No, thanks very much for supporting the show. Hopefully it's interesting. You haven't missed too much, just me ranting, not ranting, but gushing about Point Salad and how amazing it is. Zero Theory, welcome to the stream. I don't think I've seen you here before. How important is to have unique mechanics versus borrowing mechanics from other games? Yeah, really good question. I've heard it like when I don't remember, like there are things that are in my head which I'm like, I don't really know where I heard that first, but I think Daniel Solis might have said something like this first, but you kind of want, it's like almost like an 80-20 rule. Like you want 80% familiar and 20% new in any games. That generally we think, and this was definitely earlier on in my design career, I kept trying to make games that had lots and lots of new things. I thought that was the thing I had to do. I had to make the big new thing that was like completely different. And firstly, that's hard because that's a lot of things to make new. And when you make something new, not only is the work of just making something, but you don't have anything to base it on. So you like all your guesses about like how much should things cost, how should things flow, what is kind of like game flow or arc. You don't have any of that experience. So it's like that's even more work than using something that's kind of familiar. Like if you start with a deck building shell of like draw 5 cards, play, you know, like that works in Dominion, even you can take leaving cost structures from Dominion and have a bit of new stuff. And you know that kind of basic draw 5, play 5 things cost, you know, a certain amount. You probably can get between, you know, 1 and 5 money or whatever. Like that's such a way to skip ahead in the design because you get to see, you know, like you can kind of use the work that was done before. You can build on that. But of course, if there's nothing new, then people aren't really interested. And it's like, well, why does that game exist? So yeah, it's finding a balance. And usually you only need a small amount of newness. So that kind of like 20% idea is enough to give people the impression that they're playing something new. And of course, sometimes the best thing about a new thing is that if you have one part of the game which is new, it can actually give a completely new context or a new way of interacting with other very familiar things. So like worker placement I was talking about it a bit earlier. You know, if you change, for example, just a small thing about, say, how you get your workers back. So you think of like in Tzolk'in, for example, where you have these gears, and on your turn, you're either placing a new worker or you're taking a worker off a gear, and the gears kind of tick up over time with better actions. So like it's taking that shell of worker placement, place a worker where you want to place them, that's been seen in a lot of games, and just that little twist of then I can choose when I want to take back a worker and get its action. And that actually completely changes the normal worker placement thing, because you have to start thinking about not only about where do I want to go, but what's the best time to go there, because I want to put it in with the other thing. Like I want to line it up with the other things. Sorry, I want to line up my effect or what action I'm getting in the context of the other actions I've sort of got going on and ticking up. So yeah, I would say that you need to have something new in each game. That's what's going to drive, you know, why should it be published? Why should people be interested in it? But it's usually less than you think. And what I learned from that earlier experience is not only was it more work for myself trying to do everything new, but it always was too complicated, you know, and because it's a lot to take on. If everything's new, not only is it hard for you as a designer, it's hard for the players because they also have to suddenly, they can't like use a lot of things that they already understand and say, okay, it's like this, it's like Dominion, but with some area control, you know. They can bring their experiences already to the game. It's also, I think, the reason sometimes about if you can have a game with a theme that makes sense, that's so powerful because it allows a lot of players to bring knowledge and experience that they have in their life already, and they can use that to help understand the game, like kind of implicitly without it being in the rules. You know, so having any game which has a theme that sort of makes sense, and, you know, like if there are, I don't know, ships in a game and you're like, they, you know, I don't know, they go through, they travel on sea. Like, it's such a stupid example, but, you know, we all know that ships go on sea. So, you know, you don't even have to tell people if you had a mixture of locations which are on land and sea and you have a boat, players will just already know that the boat goes on the sea. It can't go on land. They're using their real world knowledge. And anytime you can do that is also really, really useful and powerful. So I hope that kind of answered your question. And thanks so much. Yeah, you said first time here. Where are you joining from? The US, UK, somewhere else? But yeah, anyway, welcome to the stream. This one's a bit more what's the word? Self-directed, I guess, or well, I guess they're all self-directed. It's a bit more random mix of things today because I didn't have a particular topic in mind. As Rob says, a twist is often more effective than a new direction. Yeah, that is also another way to think about new things. That sometimes it's just a small twist. So like Monumental is a really good example that it was just thinking about how can I change a deck building game instead of I have 5 cards and I've got to kind of use them all because I'm going to discard them in. How can I make that slightly more strategic? And I was like, well, maybe there's a way that I could have a bigger hand and I'm only going to use a subset of those cards. But if I have a bigger hand, then how do I choose which cards I can use? Oh, why don't I put them in a 3x3 grid? And then there's some rules about which 5 cards you could use in the grid and this sort of thing. So yeah, exactly. And then the rest of the game was building on with more familiar elements because I had my twist already, which worked. From the States. Oh, welcome anyway. Yeah. So no, that's all very interesting. We might have a quick. I'm not sure actually. I don't know. I won't put a poll. So viewers have an option at this point. I could we haven't done a kind of a look through Matthew's old prototype files for a while. So we could have a look at a few. Welcome. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean welcome anyway. I meant it's like how do you keep going with a train of thought while taking in input from chat and all these things. Sorry, I didn't mean anyway. Everyone is welcome no matter where they're from. So yes, first option is to look at some old prototypes. Another option is we could fire up Tiny Islands and just have a chill kind of play of Tiny Islands or something like that. And the third option, I'm not sure if there's a third option. I can just keep rambling, or we can do general Q&A or anything like that. So if anyone has a preference, speak now or forever hold your peace. Or or not. Also, was having some fun. I was watching a stream. Does anyone do GeoGuessr? It's like this. Oh, okay. So there's some interesting prototypes. Okay, so we will do prototypes. But yeah, I just wanted to say GeoGuessr, which is this game which plonks you. Robert wants me to play again. Okay, maybe I'll do both. GeoGuessr is this game which uses Google Maps, and basically you get dropped somewhere in the world, like in Google Maps, and you have usually a time limit to basically the goal is to put a pin somewhere in Google Maps to be where you are, and I think it's just geoguessr.com or something like that, and you get points based on how close you were to like how close your guess was in terms of distance. And because there's a time limit, and basically when you get plopped into the Google Map, you can move around like a normal navigation. So a lot of the game is like going to try and find, like if you're on a road, you try and find road signs, you try and find directions to cities or things like that. And I saw, for some reason on YouTube, I saw someone doing the Czech Republic, and I was like, oh, that's really cool, because it was interesting for them doing it. I think they were American. I'm pretty sure they were American. I think they were one of these kind of GeoGuessr pros, so they had no specific knowledge about the Czech Republic. But there are kind of general things that help you, I think, anyway. Like, to look for towns, look for major towns, look for like major road numbers or like highways or things like that, because they're easier to see on like the zoomed out bit of Google Maps or anything like that. So, and I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of fun, because as they were playing, I was like, I wonder if I'll ever come across something that will, like it's kind of a fun way to get to know the country, because I know the Czech Republic reasonably well, and I've traveled to, is it the Czech Republic or Czechia? It's a very good question. Yes, in English, it is officially Czechia. In Czech, it's Česká republika, or it hasn't changed, so it's still like Czech Republic. They only changed it because they had this idea that they wanted the name to be like, they didn't want the adjective like Czech to be in the noun as well, like Czech Republic. So like you're Czech and you're from the Czech Republic, whereas they wanted to be like you're like more like you're Slovak from Slovakia. But from my limited interactions with other Czechs, or at least Czechs my age, they really don't like Czechia. So yeah, you can say Czech Republic. I don't think anyone's going to care. but anyway, the really funny thing is I was just watching this person play, and I was like, oh man, okay, I'll try it, because I knew about GeoGuessr and played it once or twice. But this was like a new way to kind of explore it. And the very first thing so I should say, I'm also not very, like, I haven't played it much at all. And even getting used to kind of like the manipulation, like navigating through the Google map, like quickly, because you have like 5 minutes, is kind of tricky. So I was like, oh my gosh, I can't even move around like very fast. And like the very first one I did was like this perfect like confluence of like, I'm sure exactly what you want the game experience to be, because I was sort of floundering around for a while. And especially sometimes if you're not near a town, it takes a while to get into a town, because we're in the middle of a field. There isn't like a lot of information around. Like, it's a cornfield. There are a lot of cornfield. No, not a cornfield. Just some field. Like there's a lot of those in the Czech Republic. And I was like walking, run. So I was like 3 or 4 minutes, had not really got anywhere. Then I saw a street sign, and like, I don't know random villages in Czech Republic, which is like the majority of what you're going to run into. But I did see Vlat or something, or like N. Vlatava. And I know that Na is kind of like on, so it's like on the Vlatava River, because there's a lot of places which are named after the rivers they're near. So like there's another river called Sazava, so there's a lot of like something Na Savazava or Sazava. And it was kind of cool that I was like, oh, I understood that, great. And then I realized, okay, I know where the Vltava is. I mean, I know like which part of the country it goes through. It goes through Prague, kind of north to south, basically. And I went to Prague, like I quickly went to Prague, and I was like, okay, I just have to guess north or south, because I didn't know like the particulars, like Tin, Nad, like this particular town. I didn't know it. I knew it was on the Vltava, but I didn't know whether it was north or south of Prague. I just chose south. I kept going down, and then I found it, and I found exactly where I was, like 4 seconds to go. And I was like, in the end, I think I was 100 meters off the right answer, which gives you basically the maximum points. And it was just this amazing experience. So yeah, I played it with my girlfriend a little bit more in the evening. And it was sort of interesting because she also doesn't necessarily know a lot of random small villages, but there were interesting times where she would know something, like she'd have some partial knowledge that would be a bit more than mine, which would kind of skip things together. So that was really fun. I really want to now go back and do the same thing, but for Australia, just to see whether, well, it'll probably show how little I know about Australia, probably, or actually how much I do know or not, which was kind of fun. So maybe I'll do some geoguessing on the stream. I don't know if that'll be, I don't know if I could deal with the stress, but I think that actually could be cool. I could even do that, actually. That might even be something. Maybe we will do that on stream later. This might end up being a game design variety hours, maybe, if everyone's still interested and happy. So maybe I'll do some geoguessing as well. Okay, but the prototype people were interesting. It's very easy to get a bad score in Australia. That is true. You like the relative, but there's, I think, like if you get in the right state, which I hope I would be able to do every time, like it's roughly the size of a reasonable, like, okay, it's still like 2 or 3 European countries. The other thing in Australia is that like the highway system is probably a lot easier. Like once you have the highway number, you know, like it's just easier. Jay's only played it where you try and guess the country. Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, I'm actually, I'm okay. We'll do some, or do some Australia, which will bring me back, because I think the Czech Republic could still like completely flop. Like the first experience was amazing, but the next two I didn't do very well, because it was taking like just if you didn't get that cool little clue, and I know some of the towns, but not everything. So anyway, quick look at prototypes, old prototypes, maybe 1 or 2. Prototype deep. Oh, it's not supposed to be Q&A, but anyway. So I've had the screen up all the time, but let's have a look. So I think the last time we were talking about The Pen is Mightier Than the Sword, which is taking us all the way back to January 2015. It's almost 6 years ago, where I was talking about this sort of crazy theme, which I keep trying to have, which is like a one-on-one battling game where you're like an author from history, and you're basically like dreaming up your creations to fight the other person's creation. So like Kafka has a massive bug or something, like from Metamorphosis or something like that. That's where we're up to. And yeah, so for those who have never done this with me, basically this is where I, Matthew, go back into my game projects folder on my computer, where I have all my prototypes, and look at random folders and see if I can even remember what the game is. And maybe there's some interesting stories about what the game became. or why did I stop on the game? And it also, I think, shows anyone who's interested in designing to see just how, like, just where things start. Like, it's not particularly glamorous, I would say. So so the next one up is called Guild Microdraft. I probably at some point I started like naming prototype versions in letters, because like numbers I can get sort of complicated, or I don't know. I've sort of done letters since. So this, like, the first version is the A version. Interesting. I have actually a reasonable set of files. The thing that I always realize when I look at these that is really bad practice is there's never any rules. So that's very hard to remember how to play these games because I don't know rules. So recommendation for people out there, try and write rules as early as possible, because, in 5 or 6 years' time, you might be having a stream and trying to remember what you did. Buildings PDF looks okay. Well, luckily, I do actually remember this game. So this game was an attempt to make a. It was in the kind of Good Little Games, vibe of, like, 18 or 27 cards, where you would have rounds of drafting, but in each round of drafting, you would draft a set of cards, like 4 or 5 cards, and these cards would all have some effect, like they were kind of like multi-use cards. So there was like a resource on one side, like in this blue box sometimes. There was like some effect in the yellow thing. There was some maybe some set majority controls or something like that. And the idea is that you would start the game with like a little player mat, and as you drafted cards, you'd put you'd choose, if I want to put a blue card, I put it on the blue edge. If I put a yellow card, I put it on the yellow edge, and it kind of builds out from that. So you would kind of draft these cards, you would score them at the end of the round, and then at the end of each round, you would choose one card to keep. So there was like a little bit of engine building as well. It's a little bit like, which I'm not sure if it came out at the same time. It's a 2-player drafting game from Portal, whose name I'm forgetting right now. I will trust the chat is going to come up with it. Where, again, you would draft cards and you would have 3 rounds of drafting, and each round of drafting you'd keep 1 card, and so you'd kind of have that engine building thing. Yeah, so that was basically the game, and it actually kind of worked okay. I have some characters as well. I don't know why I have. Maybe they were double. They may have even be double-sided cards where you might have chosen to, you were drafting people as well. I think I'm not exactly certain really, because I didn't write it down. And this is also showing. I'm not sure if I've had an example of this where I'd started using InDesign. Tides of Time. Yeah, Rob, you're right. Thank you, Rob. Tides of Time is the game I was thinking about for Portal. This is where I started using Adobe InDesign to data merge to make card prototypes. So you can see it here. So like any images or icons you need are like EPS files, or JPEGs also I think work. So these are all like the different images you see on the cards that are just individual image files. Then you have a CSV file which has all your information. So like these are the titles or the names of the cards. If there's an in the column title, it means that's an image. So like you'll see EPS files, and then you have some action, and basically that, once you data merge it, becomes a PDF like this. So it's got the title, it's telling you where to put these icons, and this text was in the CSV file. And this is something I use regularly. It's how, for example, yesterday I made a prototype in about 30 minutes, because you just have to grab some images, a quick CSV file. I use the same template, like card template. I sort of copy it from previous projects, and I just put new tags in. And it's really quick to make up, like 40, 50 cards or something like that. Especially if they're just like small variations of each other. And then you have a PDF which you can print out, or there's also ways to output individual card files if you're going to put it into Tabletopia or a Tabletop Simulator. So yeah, it's interesting that I do remember it really reasonably well. I definitely played it a little bit, and I guess it never got past its first version, and I don't really remember why I stopped. Probably reasonable. It's the way that things go, I guess. But yeah. So that was that's Guild Microdraft. If anyone has any questions or wants to, if something here is exciting them, feel free. We can, always happy to collaborate or see something again. Legends of Shinto. I actually also remember this game, which is good. And actually, I've done up to 3 versions because there's like A, B, and C. So I was stuck. I stuck with this for a whole month roughly. And actually, there are even rules, so I will be able to remember. But the basic point about this was that this game is the prelude to Good Little Ninjas. So Good Little Ninjas is a game that Brett and I ended up designing for the Good Little Games series. It's still available on goodlittlegames.co.uk. And it's a drafting game where every card has 3 effects, either used in the morning, day, or night. And as you draft, you're drafting cards. You draft a card and choose to put it either in each of these slots, and each slot can only take 1 card. So if you look at the cards themselves, you see that maybe they don't have any effect, or they might have even the same effect at all the types, but they might have different effects depending on which part of the day or night they use. So they're kind of like multi-use cards in a drafting format. Hey, Eclectic Camel, how you going? Welcome. We're going through old prototype files, prototype deep dive, as I like to call it. So this is a game from almost 6 years ago. But yeah, so this was, and I sort of started working on it myself. This was originally kind of my idea, and it was a kind of a bigger game because I made like these temple tracks where you were like moving up different, you had like little pieces that you'd move up tracks and get different effects. And I can't tell you how many games I've tried to get like tracks and people moving up them to work. These are things you start seeing in old prototypes over and over again. And I even had I got up to like a 3rd version of the people, which I kept, they had different types and titles. And again, this is the same. You can see like these InDesign files and CSVs. So I was data merging to do things quickly. But yeah, so it didn't go much further than that, but it did eventually become a game, Good Little Ninjas, which I guess was like almost 2 years later. So sometimes, you come up with an initial idea and it takes a while. We played it a bit. This was definitely a playable game and it had rules and everything, but it didn't work in this kind of bigger format. And then, Good Little Ninjas in the end is like a 27 card micro game basically, which did well and apparently it worked for Rob. So I'm glad that people enjoy it. It's something that we still hope can get published one day. Actually, I would say it's I think it's probably my favorite game of the 6 new Good Little games that Brett and I did in 2017. It's certainly the most gamey. There's a lot of variety and there's like interesting little combos and things, which I really enjoy. But yeah, it's never found a publisher. But if anyone's watching knows a publisher, let me know. It's definitely available. But yeah, it all started there with Legends of Shinto, all of 6 years ago. We'll do 3 or 4, I guess. This is 5 dice. I have no memory of it whatsoever. And I just have a card file. In fact, I didn't even, I obviously gathered all these images thinking I was going to start doing some data merging to make some cards, but there's actually no PDF in this file. So I just have an Excel spreadsheet, which is not really opening up. You like the name of Legends of Shinto or 5 dice? Also like Good Little Tricks a lot. Oh, thanks, Rob. Yeah. I really enjoy it. As I think I've said on the stream before, it's still a kind of an overall project that I'd love to go back to if possible. Okay, this is, I've just got some vague ideas about like some effects, discarding cards, copying effects, building things, trading, but like nothing. That's it. Yeah. Hey, Vass, how you going? Oh, say hi and bye. Bye. Hi. Yeah, catch up. We're actually probably maybe going to be here a bit longer today. I think it's might end up playing a couple of games or just a little bit of relaxing things. Yeah, so not so interesting. 5 dice. Who knew what I was thinking? Probably another interesting thing would be to have my notebook open at the same time, because I suspect in my notebooks I may have more information about what I was thinking. That's where most of my ideas would start. So yeah. Yeah, okay, we'll do one last one, which is Kid Commanders. And interestingly enough, I guess I know what Kid Commanders is, and I really need to explain a different card. Hey, Daybreak, how you going? Welcome to the stream. I don't think I've seen you here before, but hope it's interesting, or thanks very much for asking. it's really cool. I was wondering what favorite programs that I use. So yeah, for a lot of this prototyping, I use Adobe InDesign, which has this data merge feature, which lets you basically take data that you put in a CSV file and then translate it into like a card layout, and like it inputs that data into multiple cards essentially. I also use Adobe Illustrator like to manipulate like bigger files and things like that. If you want more information about InDesign, a lot of stuff I learned about it was from Daniel Solis, which I'll try and bring up on the blog. Daniel Solis, maybe if I type InDesign. Yeah, so Daniel Solis is a great game designer. Yeah, Daniel Solis, exactly, yeah. Great game designer. Yeah, he even did a bunch of videos. So this is like a video where he says introduction to data merge. So has a lot of really great information about that. So I guess I'll drop Daniel's, this is his channel in the chat. And go out, check out his stuff. I think he's also, he might stream. I think he does stream a little bit. But yeah, so if you want to learn about InDesign and data merging, Daniel Solis is the person to go to. It's fantastic. Yeah, data merge would be good. Copy pasting to PowerPoint or Word is getting a little tedious. Absolutely. Also, Nandeck is another great tool that you can use. You know, because obviously InDesign is not necessarily InDesign is very expensive, and I was able to kind of I had the program anyway from other work, not from game design. But Nandeck is sort of an open, like is a free thing which you can make a donation if you want. Sorry, Bass says I work with InDesign, but not often do I use the data input option. You should use it more often. And yeah, Robert, Nandeck is awesome. Yeah, exactly. So Nandeck is really powerful. It's well developed. Michael Fox is on his stream has been going through. And I don't know how I shout out. How do you? Is there some like, or, no, I guess, I don't know how the shout out thing works, if I can do it in the, but he's Idle Michael on Twitch, and I'd go and check out his stream. I've just put the channel in the chat, where he's going through learning about Nandeck and implementing for his prototypes. So that's a really great thing to look at. Yeah, so those are the kind of programs I use in this instance, or like for these sort of things. Yeah, so yeah, I guess I'll end on a sort of a slightly high note or an interesting note. So we've come to probably a game which I finished. I'm actually very proud of, but I've never. No, Daybreak, don't worry about. Always happy to interrupt. I love people chatting and ask me time anytime. So yeah, don't throw things to chat anytime, and I will make my best to always answer questions. So no, thank you for the question, really. So it's this game which I finished. I had pitched it. It had been with a publisher for many years, then got dropped. And I think I would have started the game before 2015. I think the thing is, these dates in work, it's like the date that it was last modified. So I think this game is actually appearing later than when it actually started. There's probably some way I could sort by like when the folder was actually created. I wonder if I can do this. Hold on. View options. This may not know. Date created. Oh, okay, that's going to be more useful. So I should actually be sorting it from here if we really wanted to see like the real order in which things. So actually, no. Okay. Yes, exactly. So this is interesting. I should have thought about this. Now you can actually see, like actually when this is really like the order in which I started working on games. And the interesting thing is thinking like actually Monumental, the first prototypes that I started thinking about Monumental go way back to 2012. So that's sometimes how long project, you know, and the game just got into backers' hands this year. So that's like 8 years or something. So sometimes it can be a really long time. Yeah, but the game is here. It's called Galaxy Trucker Dice. And hopefully it's going to open. And you can see there's like actually lots and lots of versions because I was working on it with the publisher for a while and it ended up not getting published. And I guess this is like something I'm actually still really proud of, and I for the life of me, I think it will probably never get published because it's a 2-player dice game. It was sort of inspired probably by games like what's the like zombie? What there's like the Steve Jackson zombie dice game. Oh, it's called Zombie Dice, right? They're games where and TMG had like a Martian dice around the same time. They're games where you have a custom dice and you have like 12 or 13 of them usually in the game, and it's basically just that. And I had the idea of making spaceships from dice, and basically, I'm trying to find where. I may even have. Oh yeah, here's the thing. So basically, there were on each face you would have like a component of your spaceship, and you would have these connectors. So this has 2 connectors on each side, and basically you would be rolling your set of dice, and it was a little bit like Yahtzee. Every turn you had to add at least 1 die and a maximum of 3 dice to your spaceship, and they had to connect along connectors. So like the more powerful ones only had 1 connector, so they would like terminate that branch. And then you would re-roll the remaining dice that you didn't add to your spaceship. And then over a few rounds, you would make up your spaceship, and it was a bit of push your luck, because if you didn't like your dice, you could just add 1 and then hope that you get the right thing. And players were doing it at the same time. So I would roll, add something, you would roll, add something, and we were sort of checking how we were adding to our ships. And once our ships were done, then they would fight each other in a very automatic way, and each of the dice faces would do something different. So for example, the first thing is you had lasers. You had lasers and you had shields, and you would compare the number of lasers you had to the number of shields your opponent had. And if you had more lasers than they had shields, you would do 1 damage, no matter how many more lasers you had. And I should say the goal of the game was each player has like 6 health, and once they get knocked down to 0, they're out. So it was like kind of a shootout kind of game. So you had lasers and shield. Then you had nukes. Nukes, you had to have 3 nukes in your ship to have a functioning nuke. And you also had to not be damaged by lasers for your nuke to work. But if you managed to do that, then you would automatically do 3 damage to your opponent, and it couldn't be stopped by shields. So you were trying to were you trying to collect nukes, or were you trying to protect yourself, and this sort of thing. You had scanners, which I sort of were always worked out at the same time at the start of the round. Who had more scanners would target lock their opponent, and that would do a couple of things. It would mean that you would do an extra damage with lasers if you had target locked your opponent, and that it was required to get cranes to work. Cranes would only work if your opponent were target locked, and basically for every crane you'd have, your opponent would then roll 1 fewer dice in the next round. So it was a way of kind of having this strategic kind of setup to like cripple your opponent or moving in the next round. And then finally, which I thought was kind of a nice secret sauce, you had cogs. When they were in your ship, they just copied whatever they were attached to, so it made that kind of spatial arrangement important. But also when you rolled a cog, you would be able to use a cog to take a bit of your ship out and re-roll the cog and the part of the ship you'd taken out, and then you'd get to decide. So you can kind of reconfigure your ship during the rolling phase. And that was basically it. That was basically the whole game. And it was a really fun, like, little tense, like, there was a bit of like rock, paper, scissors and different combinations and like pushing your luck. And it was just, I still really like the game. And actually I have a couple of very old friends who, I think one of them still has a prototype of this game, because she just really enjoys playing it, and she still plays it. She emailed me kind of like out of the blue, like maybe 6 months ago, and said, "What are the rules to this game? I can't remember, but I really want to play it. I know I enjoy it." And like, this is a game, that I started working on, in 2014, that's still giving people joy. And I wonder, so like the various issues with the game, with it only being 2 players. So it's basically you need 7 dice per player. And in the kind of like price like range that I was going, like 2 players was fine, 14 dice, but like 28 dice is too many for like to have more players. And it also just got a bit long. And I was like, who are you fighting? Because in a 1v1 game, it's very easy. But if you have multiple players, are you just fighting the people on your left and right? I was trying things like that. I still think it works really great as a 2-player game. Maybe there's still room in this new like 2-player world where there are more 2-player games that it might happen. But yeah, it never really, because it sounds like something could be kickstarted. Yeah, maybe. That is an interesting. Would it work as a roll and write? That is actually not good. Not a bad point, Alex. I had actually not even thought about that, but you're absolutely right. It could work as a roll and write. I hadn't really thought about it. I will keep that in mind, actually. Yeah, so I probably even still have a version of the game somewhere because I have the dice and things, and they're really scuffed up because they've been through a lot. But I think if I had to think of like Daybreak, what's a roll and write? So a roll and write it's a kind of a new genre of game, but it in a way it stemmed from much older games like Yahtzee. So usually each player has a sheet in front of them, like just a paper sheet and a pencil, and there'll be some dice usually, although not always, some randomizing element. And you would you roll the dice usually for all the players, and then they would write something on the pad depending on what the results of the dice. Now there are games where you have they're called flip and fills, where instead of dice you have cards and you flip some cards and do things. There's lots and lots of variations. It's a really popular genre. Like lots of new games released in the genre. The one I just signed, game I signed earlier this week, is a flip and fill kind of game, for example. Yeah, and it's a lot of people thought it might be a fad, but it's definitely not going away, I think. So yeah, that's all right. David, add a solo mode and 1 to 2 players viable. That's true, actually, and I guess that's also true. When I designed this, obviously solo was not a thing. I think it definitely would be soloable. And actually, if you added, I was looking at cards for a while, which would have different abilities. Like there were characters that you could have, I think, which would if you had particular combinations in your ship, they would do certain things, or they'd replace the cranes. So I think you could have, bosses that you were fighting against and things like that. So yeah, there's maybe I need to come back to that. Nicola says the removing something to re-roll alongside the cog would include erasing. Maybe, yeah, maybe, and maybe if the challenge was a mission, you have to go against me. Yeah, that's true. I think there's definitely more things. It's interesting. I haven't really thought about the game at all much recently until right now. But it really holds a soft spot in my heart. But it is a good point that in the roll and write kind of world, there are definitely going to be some games that as I go through this where I do really remember them well and I did enjoy them, and that I really think I would say a lot of things I go through is I'm never going to visit them again. They're never going to be a game. But this could still be a game basically one day. So. Yeah, that's Space Fighters. Kid Commanders was sort of another take using a slightly different theme. The publisher who was interested at the time was interested in maybe retheming it, so that's why that folder came along. But actually, now that I know that I can, and yeah, it's interesting that it started as called Galaxy Trucker Dice, because it was basically could you do Galaxy Trucker, but with dice instead of parts? Essentially, that was some of the thing. Guess one more roll and write wouldn't hurt. Well, yeah, I know. I'm not helping because we've got a Dice Hospital roll and write with Brett coming out next year, or that will be kickstarted with Alleycat, for example. So, and then there's this flip and fill I've done. So yeah, but I really enjoy roll and writes. They're probably also up there in the type of game I play a lot of at the moment. So yeah. Nicola says you could have less dice if instead of keeping them, you crystallize the ship with tiles representing the parts and then pass the dice along. Then you could remove and rearrange the ship as well as with dice. Yeah, that's true. And I think if you change to be a roll and write, then you could, there are ways that I think you could do it with fewer dice, definitely. Yeah. So no, I'm not stuck on the Galaxy Truck thing. I was just sort of saying that's where it was inspired from, but it definitely has gone further from there. And it could change even more. I think that a lot of people it's just actually, I think there's nothing wrong with the game. It's just this kind of form factor problem that nobody wants to publish. A dice only game is a bit tricky, and 14 custom dice. And when you say it's only 1 to 2 players, then everyone goes oh. Alex, oh yes, lurk away. Thanks for dropping by and being so active so far. So yeah. Anyway, that's I think that might do for the prototype Deep and Dave. But I now actually I'm going to make a note for myself to have a look at, to add it back to my or at least to rethink the game. Space Fighter roll and write. Question mark. So thanks chat for that. No, really. Cool. So let's do some. Well, someone had said that they had never seen Tiny Islands, so I feel like it is my responsibility to show off some Tiny Islands. So, and actually, kind of perfectly after talking about roll and writes, because this is essentially a flip and fill digital roll and write, and actually people are welcome to play along as well at the same time. So it's if you just, I can just drop the link in the chat, which is here. It just runs in the browser, so super easy. Run the game, and I can explain. Yeah, so there's like a daily challenge. So we'll do the daily challenge. So people feel free to play along at the same time or not listen to me or whatever. And it's a super cute game by David King. And essentially you're adding different aspects to this map, to this grid, and then 3 times throughout the game, you get to draw an outline of an island, and you choose what's on the island, and everything else is like water. And different features have to be in the water or in, or on islands. Cheers, Rory. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Yeah, so daily shuffle. And these are all the, oh gosh, I'm not, sorry. I just realized I'm not sharing my screen. Not very useful. So you have all these different features and it's sort of explaining how they score. So just very briefly for those who cooking at the same time as watching. Well, what are you cooking, Robert? I'm excited. Yeah, Robert's an amazing chef / baker, and always posts really amazing pictures of food onto Twitter. So yeah, what are you up to? But yeah, I'll try and summarize the rules as best I can, and I'll take off this. I'll still got this banner for some reason. So okay, you have boats. Boats need to be in the water, and you get more points as long as they're away from other islands and from other boats. So you get a point for every square that they're distant. Waves also need to be in the water. They don't want to be next to other waves or in the same row or column. So you just want to be, you kind of need to place them so that they're not in the way of each other. And it's 2 points per wave that does that. Beach needs to be in the water as well, and they like to be surrounded by as many shores as possible. So you have 4 edges basically, and the more shores around that, you get 1 point for each side of the beach that is touching the island shore. The rest of the things want to be on islands. So you have houses, they want to be near things. Oh, I should say, when I'm saying near and touching, near is the 8 squares around wherever the thing is, and touching are the 4 orthogonal squares around the squares. So houses like to be near lots of different things, but not other houses. So they get a point for every different thing that they're near. So they like variety. Churches want to have houses on the same island, but don't want to have it with another church. So you get 2 points for every house near a church, and 1 point for every additional house somewhere on the island, but not next to the church. But you get 0 points if the island has 2 churches or more. Forest, very straightforward. You get you look at a group of forests, like connected forests, and you score 2 points per forest in that group, minus 2 points. So basically the first forest doesn't score in a group. And then mountains just want to be near lots of forests. So you get 2 points for every forest that's near a mountain. And that's it. And the way the game works is, yeah, throughout the game you get 3 opportunities to draw a border of one of your islands. You don't have to use all the lines. You get up to 24 lines, I think. And at the end of the game, you lose 5 points for anything that should be in the water that's on land, or vice versa. The way it works is you always have 2 options, and it's a combination of a feature and an area of the grid that you can put that feature in. So I could put waves in this sort of bottom third part of the grid, or I could put a wave in this row. And so if you basically click on the option you want, and then you put it in wherever you want to go. And that's how you play, basically. And you keep doing this. This tells you how many cards you have, how many choices you have to go until you're going to draw an island. And I think it's 999 or something like that, or maybe slightly less. Oh, Robert, you're making his pizza night, so I won't be typing with dough on hands. Good idea, but sounds delicious. Well, we've got waves, so it's much of a muchness, really. So I'm just going to stick some waves somewhere in the corner and be done with it. Did it do it? Okay, it doesn't like me doing that. Okay, for some reason I couldn't click on that bit. Okay, so we've got beach, which wants to be near the island shore. So a good trick about beach is to make the island kind of do a little U around the beach. But I like getting an early church, because churches want lots of houses, and it gives you a focus for where to put your houses. So I'm going to put a church sort of away from the waves. We've got shore again, and forest. And forests are a bit similar in that placing an early forest gives you a bit of direction where to put more forest. So I like going with them as well. Okay, so we've got waves or shore now. I'm going to put some shore here. So that's giving me a bit of direction of where this island's going to go, because I also know houses want to go near the church, but the houses want lots of variety, so I'm putting a coast sort of here near it. We've got more forest, but it's not near I can't put it near the forest I've already got, so not as great. I could stick a boat really far away and then try and not put anything sort of down here, or like try and have all my islands up the top. So why don't we try that? I don't normally do a lot of boats, but we could try that. So another boat, not so useful, but houses, we could put, you know, try and get it on the same island as here, I think. Or I could put a, no, I can't put a boat. So I'll just put a house here. I was thinking I could put the boat in, but it's still going to be close to this island, so not so useful really. Okay, I've got a good forest. I can keep putting forests in, so I think I'll keep doing that, which is good. I've got some houses, not great. It's kind of far away from anything I want. So I might just do another wave. And I know that we're going to have sea down here, so it doesn't matter. You know, I can put the sea. I just don't want it to be the same row or column or near other waves. So I'll put it down here. Coast or church? It's not a really good choice. Because I actually don't want, if I put a coast kind of near here, then I want an island near here, but I want to maximize my boat scoring. So maybe I'll just put a church on this island. Okay, so we have a bit of direction for this. So what I might do is start with this island. So this is the trick to maximize your kind of coast scoring by putting three borders around the coast. Then I'll come down and I'm going to try and make it so that, you know, it's not near this this boat as much as possible. Oops, I've made a huge error there. So, but I have to make sure all my things, and then I'll try and make the island kind of as big as possible, so there's a lot of room around around the church. Actually, well, I've done it now. Okay, so that's my island, and it sort of puts it in white, so you know that that's definitely land. Okay. I can't put, this is not going to work at all, so I have to do this. Houses like to be near different things, so I'll just stick a mountain near the church. Forest, not so useful, but I can put a mountain near this forest, which will be quite good. Mountains like to be near forest. That's actually quite a good shore. I could put a shore just here. That's 2 points, which is just as much as the waves. And I know that's always going to work. So, and also it's giving another point because houses like to be near lots of different things. I could put more houses on this island, which is probably not a bad idea. Or I could get a definite 2 points with this waves. I might do that actually, because I could put this here. It's not the same row or columns or anything. And I know I want lots of water down here. Oh, good, some forests. So hopefully I can do a forest that's going to be near my existing forest. I can't put it here because I need, this is going to have to be water to go through because the islands have to be separate. Yeah. Am I getting heckled from the chat here? Good mountain. Yeah, it's someone's put a church right next to the mountain. I could put it here because actually that would score 2 and it would up my scoring for that thing. Or I could, well, this is also going to score 2 and there's a chance I get to connect it. So maybe I'll just go with that. Okay, so we're definitely going to try and put a house in here. Or I could actually put it near, it's actually not a bad place for a house because it'll score for this church and it'll score an additional thing. So actually, I think that's a nice place for it. I can try and put forest back on the main island, or I could have coast. That's interesting. I don't really want to put coast there, but I could put coast here because I know water is going to be here. So maybe that's fine, actually. Oh, I've been punished. Can I get forest? I can have like the forest, but then I've just got a lot of disconnected forest, which is not very good. And I could put houses there. It's not a bad house spot, actually, because there's lots of different stuff, and you're going to be on the same island. Yeah, I'll do that, actually. It's not a bad house there. No, the other one. Oh, yes, yeah, because you get 2 points for every close forest. That's true, that's true. I think I'm getting the chat, maybe it's like slightly delayed, so everyone's shouting me, do this, and I've already made the choice. Yeah, for me, like tiny islands is like you just make lots of quick choices and then go with it. Oh yes, and I put the thing there without. I'm not going to be able to connect up this thing anymore. Hey, not yet again. Well, welcome to the stream. I don't believe I've seen you here before, but yeah, I love tiny islands too, so that's why we're playing. Trying not to screw up too badly. So I don't think the church is going to be very useful. So I think it's going to be forest, which I think means it's just going to have to go here. Now, the difficult thing is we're obviously going to do this island. I don't know whether I should basically cut it off. I'm basically trying to keep it. I could have a very narrow island up here. It's going to be a bit tricky. Well, let's see. I know it has to go around here and then have all of this. I'll make this a bit bigger, and then I have to have like a channel through here, so this has to go like this. But maybe I'll try and give it as much room as possible. It's a bit dangerous, but let's see. Let's see. Okay, so I'm making it a bigger island because I have to be able to fit stuff on later, and I'm just trying to not put anything near these boats, essentially. But of course, now you might start getting a problem of not being able to fit anything. And actually, I might have this problem now because I can't put the houses. Maybe I can have a little island down here. This wave is actually terrible because I don't think there's anywhere I can put it that will score. And it will just, yeah, so I can't do the wave. So I'm just going to have to hope like that I put anything on islands down here and I make like a really little island here, which is a bit stupid. I mean, interesting enough, I've been immediately rewarded with a church that I can put next to these houses. So that works all right. Oh, like boats don't want to be near other boats. So I can't do the boat there. So it looks like the only thing I can do is to put a mountain on this island because you really don't want to suffer the penalty for like having something in the wrong, like in the sea when it should be on land, or on land and the sea is 5 points, which is a lot. So I think it's worth not doing that essentially. Coast would be fine. Coast could give me a point without any problems. This forest doesn't look great, but at least it would. Well, should I do the forest or the coast? What do you think? Because the coast is just a given 1 point. Yeah, I'm 5 turns. So this number down here is how many things I still have to choose until the next drawing of the island, basically. Oh, it's a hard choice. I'm just going to go for the straight 1 point, I guess. So I'll put it, and I have to be near the coast to score anything. Oh, I've really made it quite difficult for myself. So that forest is not going to work. Yeah, this is the first time I've tried to do. I usually don't do boats. So I normally I'm not as restricted where I can have islands, but I've sort of tried to do that here. So I have to go with a mountain. I'll put it near a forest, so at least score something. Okay, so I can have waves, which will just be a straight 2 points, or forest, which is also a straight 2 points. So Rob ended up with some sunken houses. Tricky. Yeah, maybe. Okay, let's just do the waves, I think, because they're well, I guess the forest actually could be, because it's at least 2 points, and it could be another 2 points if I manage to get another forest there. Oh wow, I got really lucky here. Getting to get a forest on this thing is just, that's really lucky. Yeah, that's really, really lucky. So I will take that. I can't put houses in the sea. So I'm going to have to screw my churches here, unfortunately. And then I just do a little... This is shall be known as the lonely island of two churches. Should have gone hard on boats. 3 points on boats is usually good. Okay, well, let's see. So yeah, it does do all the scoring automatically. So I've got 5 points for my boats. Hopefully all my... I do sometimes make some stupid errors with the waves. Hopefully I haven't done that. No, I haven't. So they all score 2 points each. Did pretty well with the coasts. So that's 8 points. The Sacred Island, yeah. This is the Sacred Island down here. So I got, yeah, houses not... houses did okay, but the churches didn't really work out very well. So I get 1 here. Nothing for these churches because they're on the same island. This wasn't too bad. Could have been a better church time, but the forest might get me back, and the mountains are going to do quite well. So that mountain didn't do anything. That didn't do anything. But then this one, oh wow, I think that's one of the best mountains I've ever. Lonely Island, I'm on a boat, and nothing is incorrect. So my final score is in the 50s or something, 53. So that is my tiny island. So if anyone else has done the challenge, let me know how you did. I had yeah, this is the daily shuffle. Yeah, it's the daily shuffle for today. So yeah, you can try it out now. I guess you know a little bit about where it is. Don't get suckered into putting this this boat down here. But oh gosh, sorry. Oh, I have this. I should turn off the kind of the. Oh, I see. Your score today was 64. What, do you remember much about your island, or do you have a picture or anything like that? Rob got 44. Okay. Oh well, you know, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, it's sort of funny. It's one of those funny games that, you know, like you just don't know what's going to come out. And but I just love the way it looks and the mixture of like that, the freedom to like where your islands are going to go, and everything has like a really cool bit of character. And I just want to like take a photo of it, basically. Like I wish there was actually an option to like screen capture the map, or like output it as a JPEG or something, so you could like tweet it out or something, because that's always really cool. Yeah, so I love Tiny Islands. Definitely would recommend it. Yeah, go for it. So yeah, I'm still this I think is currently my longest stream ever. But I'm having fun, so I think I'm going to hang around still for a bit. So anyway, it's probably getting into people's dinner times and things. So also, as always, feel free to head off whenever you want. Also, I don't say obviously, but if you ever have questions about designing or anything, let me know. Yeah, I know I can. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I know I can. I have this shortcut of the. But it would be really cool if there was like just a way, because I think it's also a good way to publicize the game, right? Because if there was an easy way for me to output it in a nice looking way, and then I posted it, and then it had like tiny islands, and everybody could work it out. It would be good. It's lunchtime in Canada. Okay, yes, all right. That's true. Sorry, I always get mixed up with time zones. Yeah, I was talking on Monday that I'm going to try and do one stream. I currently stream Mondays and Fridays at this time from 5 p.m. Central European time. But because I'm Australian and I'd love to kind of connect with more Australian people, I'm going to try like one Wednesday morning stream, which would be like Australian evening time. Because like right now in Australia, it's probably something stupid like 4 o'clock in the morning or something. So I can never do that. Yeah, so I'm going to try and do a bit more or even more streaming. But yeah, let's do some GeoGuessr, because now I've got and 12. Isn't it like really, really cold probably in Canada, or is it like really, really hot? Bass has dinner with the stove. Sounds lovely. I'd actually quite like. I've been having like lunches later and later now that I've been inside more and more. Like all my meal times have sort of shifted back, so I didn't have lunch that long ago. So I meant for you summertime. Oh yeah, so yeah, I'm not in Australia right now. I'm in Prague right now in Europe. But yes, in Australia it is very hot. That is true. Jay's been playing a lot of Tiny Island a while ago and got a bit tired, but now I want to play again. Yeah, no, it was the same for me. Like I played it quite a bit when it first came out, and then I was like, oh yeah, I've had my fun. But it's a nice thing to come and do, like every now and then, which I enjoy. Oh, thanks, Not Yet Again. Thanks for the. Oh, also, you have a personal challenge of making a skull island. Okay, oh, that's cool. I don't know how to, because you can't do, you can't have like lakes, right? That would be something really cool if they could add that, having like lakes. Or are you able to like subdivide an island that you've already made with more, like putting a water inside an island? You can make holes in the island. Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, so I will try that then. That's really cool. Yeah, or like make one really big island that's just like just the borders or something like that. That'd be kind of cool. Although I guess you can't do that, right? Because you can't. The island wouldn't be big enough. Yeah. So I was chatting a bit earlier about GeoGuessr. So let's do some GeoGuessr. You're going to see that I am not a member, so there's going to be some things. So I want to do Australia. So if anyone is more up with GeoGuessr, should I do Explorer mode where I choose a country and then just choose that? Oh, sorry, Bass. Yeah. Would like to know what the Daily Shuffle is. Do you mean like what it is? So Daily Shuffle is, it's a set seed for the cards that come out for that day. So if you go to the like if I go back to the, well, if I play again maybe, yeah. So it's like this. It says like Daily Shuffle down here, and then that is like a set of, it's like you'll get the same options for everyone as long as you play that day. So you could play the Daily Shuffle yourself now, and it'll be exactly the same set of options as I had. Does that answer your question? And then you also have like a random shuffle. Oh, sorry, you can't actually see the thing up. So down here, there's Daily Shuffle here and Random Shuffle. So Daily Shuffle is like the same seed for everybody, and Random Shuffle is just a random set of cards that's just dealt out. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So you can do, yeah, have the same shuffle as me. So yeah, you try and get your best score. Or beat what Not Yet Again had, like 63, was it right? Yeah, so that's the score to beat, I guess. But we're going to do some GeoGuessr. So I should want, everyone will probably be screaming, oh, and Ross is running high scores every day. Oh, okay, yeah, okay. I knew he was doing some Slay the Spire monthly things, but okay, I should now go into Ross's Discord and put my score for today. I didn't know that. Are you still enjoying it? Not Yet Again, like each day? Because I think it was the thing for me, doing it every day became a bit of a not a chore, but it just, like, it's a nice thing that I get to dip back in and out again, I guess. Loves it. Oh, great. Well, I'm glad that, yeah, it's such a great design. I'd love to see it actually even made like a way to make it an analog game. I think that would be quite cool. We also started golf scoring Mondays. Get as low as you can. Oh, really? Okay, that sounds like fun. Okay, I'll check it out. Because I was super into Slay the Spire as well. I don't know how many hours of that game, but I've fallen off it quite a bit recently. Not for any real reason, but I think I'd just kind of seen everything. And I know that they have also, like, you play like a specific seed and see what score you can get. So maybe that would be kind of cool. And like sharing stories, I guess, like with the different things that can happen with the same seed. Yeah, sort of comparing. So I'm looking up. Yeah, if anyone doesn't know Ross, it's More Game Please, like More Game PLS. I can find his Twitch here. Go and give him a follow on Twitch. And also he has a really great like Discord community. He's just a pretty fantastic person generally. So definitely give him a follow at the very least. He's a fantastic person, fantastic streamer. Yeah, so check that out. So Australia, the home of the kangaroo and the koala, the vast outback and the Great Barrier Reef, is the world's smallest continent, but also the planet's 6th largest country. Welcome to the land down under. So as I said earlier, I am Australian. I was born in Sydney. I grew up in a small country town called Muswellbrook, which is about 4 hours away from Sydney, kind of northwest. And I went to university in Sydney. So I know the state of New South Wales, which is where Sydney is the capital of New South Wales. It's the kind of middle state on the eastern side of, you can roughly split Australia into like thirds going across. Like the left third is all Western Australia, middle third is the Northern Territory and South Australia, and then you have 3 states down the east: Queensland, New South Wales, and Victoria, and then Tasmania is the island at the bottom. So I know New South Wales fairly well. I have travelled a bit in Victoria, a bit in Tasmania. I haven't I've never been to South Australia or Western Australia. I've been to the Northern Territory. I've been to Brisbane, which is the capital of Queensland, a couple of times, but not much else. So I have like a bit of knowledge about Australia, obviously, but I'm kind of interested in how well I might do. You know, so let's go. And yeah, I'm sure people are going to scream at the screen because I am still a bit of a newbie at GeoGuessr and I don't have the controls down pat. So I'm sort of, oh no, I can't play. Okay. Oh no. Hold on. Okay. Right now I'm gonna become a member. So I can play. It's probably good to support it. I have to work out how I'm gonna everyone chat amongst yourselves as fun upgrade to pro. Okay. It's gonna be a test of how easy it is to do if I can do it on the stream. Let's do that. Yeah, let's try and whoops. Let's not have that on the stream. That's better. Let's do it, or we can do Czech Republic. Yeah, okay, we can try Czech Republic after this. I just kind of want to start with the like the one I'm hopefully going to do better at. But then we can go from that. Let's deal with that. Okay. Let's hope it's going to process. Awesome. Okay, so hopefully this works now. I can get rid of this. Oh, I should not have got rid of my tiny island. It's gone away now. Jay has none knowledge of just Australian geography, so I won't be shouting, I think. Well, no, it's not so much about like not knowing geography. It's just like the basic controls of the game, because I think there's definitely a skill in like knowing how to quickly move along like a long road and not screwing up and like rotating the camera and things like that. So yeah. Oh, you've been up the Eastern Coast, Daybreak. Okay, cool. Yeah. So let's see. What am I doing? Explorer mode. I'm going to Australia. I wonder if there's some. Should I somehow make this full? Is that going to make it look a bit better? A little bit better. Okay, so what are we going to do? We're going to play. I'm going to try 10 minutes because I think dealing with stream at the same time is going to be. I was doing 5 minutes last night, which is a bit. A little bit of it's definitely a bit of fun, but I think it's going to be too much stress. So and I'm allowing all the movement. So I guess like all these other options. So anyone who's more used to GeoGuessr than me, like these are kind of the pro options, I guess, right? Where you can just like, I don't know how easy would it be to like not be able to move. Like, I mean, aren't you just hopeful? James will just randomly shout some Australian verbs. G'day, mate. Well, I don't know. I can try and put on an Australian accent. I don't have a very like mild Australian accent, so I'm not sure if I'm the best example of an Australian. Anyway, so are we ready? I think we are ready. Let's go. Let's start. Let's try not to panic. Loading location. Okay. All right. So where are we? Okay. Some nice. Whoops. Oh gosh. Some sort of coastal town or some mountains. I mean, obviously we're going to see, okay, Cuba Road. Interesting. Trying to head into town where there might be some, or head out of town. Of course, all the weather is, it's always like this in Australia. So every map is going to be just beautiful sunshine. Okay, this looks like a main road. I don't know. Where are we? Oh, they've actually like some. It looks like the some of the like signs are kind of blanked out. It's near Tasmania. Okay, you're saying, are we in Tasmania? Interesting. Okay, this is a good, maybe if we can see what's on this sign. No, I can't see anything there. Can come up to this. Oh, hold on. Oh, they've yeah, because actually there is a bit of a cheat in Australia because all the number plates are states. Like you can tell the state from a number plate, but it looks like that you. I could be hopeful and like hope that they've forgotten to. Someone could tell me. Okay. Oh, here we go. What's that say? Risdon Vale. Okay. Do not know Risdon Vale, I'm afraid. I think we got to get out of town. The other option is just to quickly look at like bus things because sometimes you might better tell from. Okay, so we think we're in. Oh, here we go. Oh, we're in. There you go. We're in Tasmania. Okay. Let's find. I've never heard of Risdon Vale. Good blind guess, Bass. Okay. So this is where. I mean, of course, maybe we got a bit lucky because also Tasmania is also like the smallest. And we're not really near the sea, are we? We couldn't really see sea. I wonder if I need to get out onto a road and try and see the name of the road. Might be a good idea. And we can kind of see mountains, like there are mountains in a lot of places. So I don't know if that's gonna help very much. So not sure. Not sure. Maybe this is making a best recognize the coastal mountain views. Okay, so what I think I need to do is maybe get out of town and try and see. Wait, there was a sign here somewhere. Yeah, okay. So we're definitely in Risdon Vale, whatever Risdon Vale is. I'm just trying to see if I can like find some other clue in terms of like roads. What do we think? This is probably the main road, isn't it? Oh, hey Ross, how are you going? Sorry, I didn't see you there. We're in some classic. Are you much of a geoguesser? Oh gosh, that was a bit. Okay, we knew we were in Risdon Vale, but I just need a better. Okay, we're on the highway now, so that's good. So hopefully we're going to see. Okay, that would be a useful sign if there was anything there. Okay, Risdon Vale. We're in Risdon Vale. Still 5 minutes. We're okay. Of course, I guess the other problem is that you can. I reckon we must be near Cradle Mountain. So Cradle Mountain is like the kind of the snowy where it can snow quite reasonably in Tasmania, because it said frosty. I mean, this is a good advertisement, I think, for Tasmania right here. I would say it's a beautiful state actually. I only visited once when I was younger. Oh, I guess that's the problem though. I don't know if I've just gone like the wrong idea, like where I've just have to try and find some town. I don't know whether it's better to just like try and find the name on the map, or whether actually like looking for a clue on the thing is useful. Because there should be a sign here with like nearby towns soon. Like we're on the main road. Surely there's. But of course, Australia, you could go a really far away without seeing anything. It's okay. I guess if we get to like 3 minutes, maybe I'll just say, thanks, Daybreak. Yeah, cheers. And yeah, definitely this has been a bit of a random stream. But there are other days where I definitely, I'm much more focused on a particular game design topic or things like that. And feel free to check out the other streams, which, whoa, what happened there? Okay. Where there's more stuff. Okay, I don't know if I feel like I think I should go back to the start. I feel like I just have to Do I have to just start looking? Like, really just start looking at the Risdon Vale? Because, so this is Cradle Mountain, which has all the kind of the... Any ideas from chat? Anyone got to know? I've been to Zeehan actually. Yeah, I remember Zeehan. Risdon Vale. It looked like a fairly large town, didn't it? Like it. I would think I should be able to see it on this Zoom. But maybe not. Like, I don't think it's near the coast because you can't. We get higher up a bit. Like, it doesn't look particularly near the coast. Yeah. So I don't think so. How do you spell that town? Risdon Vale, R-I-S-D-O-N Vale, V-A-L-E. So, yeah, I don't know whether I should just bring this up. Can I make it bigger? Yeah, so what? We should be looking inland. Because I guess inland, like I'd be looking around here, probably around Launceston. But it looks a bit more rural, so I wouldn't think it's like Launceston is one of the main. And then we got onto like quite a long road where there really wasn't anything. Yeah, I think going in one further isn't going to be helpful. It's not any new. No, it wasn't Renison Bell. Oh, tough. David's cheated. Well, good. The funny, yeah, it's a funny thing because you always wonder like whether you're just going to have sort of zoomed over it or something, like trying to make. Oh, I feel like I'm making a bit of a fool. When you tap map, are you going for where you started or where you are at the end of exploring? You have to always guess where you started, and there's a way that you can click this button like return to start. So yeah, you have to remember where, like, yeah, that's the place you're trying to guess, is wherever you were landed right at the start. I've only got 40 seconds left, so I feel like that's a pity because we found the main road out of there, but we just didn't find anything that like said nearby towns, which is kind of useful for extra information. So I feel like now I just got to just hope somehow I'm just going to see it. Oh gosh. Risdon Vale, where are you? Where are you? Okay, I'm just going to plonk it here and hope. Let's see. Oh gosh, I did terribly. Oh, it was basically, it was near Hobart. It's weird because it didn't really look like a. I'm going to see it on that Zoom setting. Yeah, maybe it was, but it was basically a suburb of Hobart, which is something to say. Like Hobart's the capital of Tasmania, but you can see how much of a small country town it seems. Oh, okay. So not that great. I mean, of course, I guess on the scope of Australia, like being 200 k's out is pretty good, but yeah, it was. Yeah, so I did guess, Jay. I didn't do very well. Okay, next round. I don't know. Do people want me to guess this more? It was down the south of the island, and I'd guess somewhere near the north. So go to. All right. There's a truck here. Maybe that will have something on it. We learned from that trucks can be useful things. Now the truck has disappeared. I guess that's something that people know as well. Weirdly enough, this looks super. Oh, that's funny. My okay. In Diala Special School looks very flat. yeah, it's like you see a truck and you're like, oh, I'm going to go and look at that truck, and then it disappears, or it appears down the road, or whatever. Wow, that truck is just always a little bit further away. Okay. Very flat. Definitely looks pretty rural, I would say. Okay. Thanks, Rob. Thanks for coming around. Yeah, hope it was enjoyable. Have a nice weekend. I should say, if anyone's dropping out, hope you have a great weekend and everything goes well for you. Oh, here we go. Wait a minute. It's good. Coles. I know Coles. It's a main supermarket, but might have a name on it. Yeah, have a great weekend anyway, and yeah, I'll catch you on. I'll be back here on Monday. Okay. This looks promising. Maybe. What was on? Wait, go back. I want to see that. Does it? Grocery collection points. I think it's worth to check the details, like the bus stop. Okay. Where was the bus stop? Was it back here? Did I go past it? They're very good at always getting rid of all the okay, here we go. VIP club. Getting rid of all the number plates, because if you even had just one number plate, it would immediately give you the state, basically. No trolleys. Oh, okay. No, that's just a penalty for it. Well, at least we're in civilization, so that's good. Oh, hold on. Okay, bus is good. What is the name of this big? It's interesting. I feel like I should be able to get this soon because Super IGA. Oh, here, Ballina. Oh, I actually know where Ballina is. Okay. Cool. Well, I think I do. Ballina. It's either, it's on the coast. Oh, here we go. Ballina Central. And we're near Coles. Okay, so we just need to go back to the start. And can anyone say also, with this red and white arrow here on the left, is red towards is red towards north or south? That's how rubbish I am. Okay, there's like a long road. Now I'm just trying to find a road name, I guess. Hold on. Hibiscus Avenue, okay. And it was sort of, red is north, okay. So we know the Coles and Kmart were kind of north, I think. So we're just trying to find Hibiscus. Oh, I should make this bigger, shouldn't I? Hibiscus Avenue. Which I thought we were south of. Oh, here we go, Hibiscus. And hold on. Whoa. Hibiscus, we go right. I should work out where we were to start, because Hibiscus was that way. So when we're heading east, we get to Hibiscus. Hibiscus is here. So we're probably just here somewhere, I would say. Like, we can probably find this furniture place maybe. And trying to start. Because if I thought that I was on Bentnick, then there should be a furniture shop or something just around to the left. Or maybe I should just find the road sign or a road sign somewhere. I don't know how. For what accuracy do people go for? Cambert Street. Cambert Street. Oh, we saw that Grant Street, didn't we? And this Biala Special School. Oh, so maybe it's back this way, actually. Okay, I'm just going to guess around here. I know we're not exactly, but in the interest of time. I was 52 meters away. So that's pretty close to the maximum 5,000 points, I'd say, on the scale of Australia. No, but I mean, it obviously got a lot easier because I knew where Ballina was roughly. Like I thought it was on so it's the northern part of New South Wales. It's the near the easternmost part of Australia, near like Byron Bay and a place like that, kind of known for not exactly like hippie, like alternative culture. So there's a lot of people like really good like music festivals and people living, tiny houses and different ways of living and like really creative people. It's a cool sort of place. I probably went there when I was very young, but I haven't been there since. Yeah, just under Brisbane, exactly. Like Brisbane is almost to the middle of on the eastern side. So I redeemed myself a bit there, but I think that's going to be the best it's going to get because it's from New South Wales and it's something I knew, or at least I knew where the town was. And then we got a bit lucky that we found the shopping centre, which is obviously also a very easy thing to find on the map. But we're ready to go again. Let's see. Okay. Oh, wow. Oh, this could be where I grew up. So immediately, wine growing country. There are, I know roughly where the main ones are. There's, oh God, we could be stuck here a while, can we? It looks very rural, I would say. So there's vineyards in the Northern Territory, Western Australia is Margaret River. And I wonder if I can see, maybe I can see on that irrigation system. There's like also a lot of wine growing region in South Australia, near Adelaide in the Barossa Valley, which I haven't been to. I actually grew up in a place in New South Wales called the Hunter Valley, which does have a lot of has a lot of wine as well. I feel like there should be oh, interesting, 4th Street. This must be a small town because like some of the really old towns in Australia still have this like 1st Street, 2nd Street, like quite ordinary way of naming them. Okay, so this is like super rural town, I think, probably. Clarendon House. Okay, but that's just the name of the... Thanks for coming, Jay. Let's blind a random country, or it's not possible. Yeah, I think you can. I think you could definitely do a random country as well. This was just to kind of... I think there's like this is like 5 rounds on Australia because it was just... I guess I wanted to prove I could do it. But yeah, maybe... Oh, okay, there's lots of signs here. Maybe... I thought they were signs. Were they not signs? That was further back that were signs. Oops. Oh, yeah. Let me try and... Harvey River Bridge Estate. Okay, Harvey River. So that's something. And see, we're at 3rd Street now. So, yeah, this is really just... yeah, interesting. I'm not super confident because I guess you could go a really far way. Young, you go a really far way without seeing any sort of like signs or roads or things like that. Oh, okay, all right, okay, good. RSL club. That means they'll have the name. It's like a bowling club or something, so they'll definitely have the name of it somewhere. Where do I think they're? Is it going to be down here? No, that's just a Google. Oh, here we go. Harvey. And it was established 1929. So we're probably not in the Northern Territory, I think. Harvey. I don't know where Harvey is. So I can't go off that. Okay. Okay, so we're definitely in Harvey. That's good. I guess you're trying to find like also a some sort of some more clues. We need some more clues. Let's see. Childcare center. Yeah, I think I need to kind of get out of town probably. Harvey. Oh wow, what a beautiful old like. I guess like sports ground or something like that. Okay, interesting. Still need a bit more than this, I think. Okay, War Memorial Library. Okay, there's a clue. So up there, that tells me that we are in. Oh, this is going to be bad because I'm going to forget. That is the state flag of either Western Australia or South Australia. It's a black swan. I can't remember whether I think it's Western Australia, which I'm not going to say is necessarily going to help me too much because, but I know there's a lot of like down this south. Yeah, Margaret River is like a wine growing region. So I wonder whether Harvey is down here, maybe. Because it looks like a fairly. Oh, here we go. Would you give that? Give it up for Matt. Oh wow, that was lucky. Actually, Harvey's quite big. It looks like, but I have to find where the. So where were we before? We haven't seen the hospital. Not the college. Were we at the recreational? Oh, here we go. We went past the War Memorial, right? So we were coming down this street. We have to find like first and fourth. Okay, that's 7-6 for. Okay, so we were like, we saw 4th Street. And there was a vineyard. Oh, Fifth Estate Wines. That's where we were, right? Yeah, I think we were at Fifth Estate Wines. Yeah, I was saying that we should be, but I think, yeah, so hold on. We can go back to start. And I'm almost certain. So red is north. So we were taking a road north. Yeah, I wonder if it's like one of these roads or something. Or we're actually on 5th Street is the other option. Okay, this was the opposite direction. So we're going south on a long road. Not a really long road. Okay, so maybe we're actually far way out of like. Oh, we were on 4th Street. Okay, okay. So now we know better. Okay, so we were on 4th Street and we were going south. And where were we at the... Yeah, so we must just be like... We must be here somewhere, basically. And I think we hit this and then we headed in. So yeah, I'm going to just go... I'm going to guess here somewhere. Let's see. Oh, okay. I was a bit further down. Okay, this road was longer than I thought. But still only 1K away, so... yeah, not too bad. Okay, I know it's getting on, but I'm gonna try and finish. I'm gonna try and whip through the next 2 quickly, and then we'll be done for today. Oh my gosh, really dropped me in the middle of nowhere. Here, is there a little car park? Oh, interesting. So I wonder if we're at a kind of like cultural site or like a national park or something. What was the car park for? Oops. Can I get into the car park? Apparently not. Maybe it's... Can I go into this car park? Just a yellow signpost. I wonder if there's going to be a sign farther back, like when you came onto the property or something. Interesting. Okay, so we're on the coast. Good start. And we're heading south from southish from wherever we were. Oh, okay, this looks like a... Oh, interesting. Okay, okay, maybe. There's some clues, maybe. I need to find something a bit more... Oops, no. Let's see if I can... Is this going to be... No, it's the same problem. Okay, let's see. Oh, too blurry. Okay, but we're definitely at some sort of... Okay, this is... Oh, that must be... This must be a big sign here. Coal mines. Okay. So there are some coal mines on the coast somewhere. Interesting. Still hoping that when I turn around, I'm going to see like another better sign. Cardinal Waters. Okay. So still roughly going south. Whew. Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? Anything on the mailboxes? No, just... Oh, here we go. Hold on. Nocky Drive. No, I'm just trying to get out of town, I guess, just to see. Woody area. Still going south. Still looking for working the coal mine going down south. Yeah, exactly. That's about the sum of what's going on so far. Oh, okay. Hold on. Oh, if only that was not so... Oh, I guess these are different points, aren't there? So possible wombats. I can't see the sign well enough. Okay, we'll just keep still going south. Oh, maybe. No. We know people want to sell, you know, they're selling houses around here. Might be a clue. Okay, oh, major intersection. Let's hope. We're going to see. Oh, here we go. Okay, okay. Lime Bay State Reserve. Okay. Lime Bay. Kind of need a bit better of a clue where. So we're in like the Lime Bay coal mines or something like that. But I don't know where Lime Bay is, and unfortunately, the coastline of Australia is rather large. So taking a random guess is not necessarily going to give me what I want. So I'm just going to try and find like anything like a street sign or. That's beautiful here, though. It's really nice. Definitely like to come and visit here, wherever we are. Isn't the same area as the previous? Yeah, no. Oh, hold on. Here we go. Convict Beach House, Saltwater River. So this is where they would have had convicts. The main convict areas would be like around Sydney or around Western Australia. And hold on, I can work this out because the coast is kind of to the is more to like the east. So we must be on the east coast, right? So yeah, because as I'm going south, it's on my left. So Lime Bay, I'm going to go with it being down like kind of south of Sydney because this could be, there's like lots of coastal areas, but I haven't heard of it really. So it's making me think that it's, but there were like lots of, I thought there were like convict things down like further south. Tasmania did have convicts too. You're right, actually. Okay, yeah. Okay, we can check out Tasmania's east coast too, if I don't see anything. Where are we so far? We're about to get into. Okay, it doesn't really seem to be a national park. Okay, so no. Just have a quick look down here. No, okay, so now we can try Tasmania. Also kind of. Because yeah, there is a main thing in Tasmania, which is like Port Arthur, which was a major convict settlement. Maybe like which is here actually. Maybe be around there. Okay, maybe we're gonna have to keep looking a little bit. I mean, I guess if you're going to guess, maybe you would guess in New South Wales. Quite old houses, aren't they? I think Tasmania is not a bad guess in a way. There it was. Oh, did you see it, Bass? You saw Lime Bay. Okay, whoops. In Tasmania, was it? I don't know how far the chat's behind me. You just clicked away. So was I basically there? Oh, here we go. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Huh. And we were just near the car park, weren't we? Oh, good Good call. Good catch. Yeah, there's the car park. So we're just literally looking at the car park. So we're like here, basically. Oh, maybe there's another car park. But we were 362 meters away from it. Oh, great catch, Bass. Thanks for that. Yeah, you saved me there. I would have just yeah, I guess that's the thing, isn't it? You can be like clicking through everything and thinking, yeah, and you were right about the kind of the convicts in Tasmania. Yeah, that's definitely true. And those are probably the, like, in a way, they're the more preserved convict things, because I think in Sydney, like, a lot of things are overbuilt and things like that. So yeah, well, that's my savior. Okay, final round. We've done pretty well, actually. Like 3 of the 4 we've got basically exactly right, which is really cool. Salvador Street. Some more very, okay, we see some tropical trees. Could be Queensland, because you could have some tropical trees. Okay, hold on. Maybe the bin will give me a clue, because the bins sometimes have the councils on them. Yeah, that's bin. Maybe I'll go further. Feels like I'm so close to seeing one of these bins properly. Oh yeah, definitely try it later, Robert. Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. Maybe, yeah, maybe if it, maybe I will do it a bit more on stream, or maybe I'll have like a special, like, oh, here we go, city of, damn it, I can't see it. It's like it's like so close. Like at some point I'm going to see it perfectly, but until then I can't. Yeah. Thank goodness the Google thing went around on bin day or whatever. Hold on. There's a, maybe it says on the tennis courts here or something. No. Hold on. Please hold. Please hold. Oh, interesting. Residential care. Okay, that's so interesting. It's hilly. It is hilly. Regano Road. Okay, we should remember Regano Road. Okay, I like main roads. More likely to be signs. Hold on. What's this sign? Flagstaff Hill Monument. Oh wow, it's been a bit of a historical. I've never heard of Flagstaff Hill, so unfortunately that is not giving me a straight away. So we're going north. Oh, here we go. Which state are you from, boss? It's so funny because you see, like, if you want to see like certain things, you have to like get it just at the right. Maybe I have to be on this side, I guess, to see the bus, because maybe when they were driving the other way. Oh, I can't really see it. If I could see the front of it, I'd have more luck. But oh, they've also blocked it out. It's not a bus that I recognise, so it's. I don't think we're in New South Wales. Hey, Brav, how are you going? Yes, we're testing my Australian knowledge, and with a bit of help, we've actually done pretty well. 3 out of the 4, I'd say we were like, did very well on. Very, very close. And on the scale of Australia, I think you can even be like in the right town is like already, you don't have to be too exact because of the scale of the country, obviously. Like the prelude I was saying a bit earlier is that I saw someone doing the Czech Republic on GeoGuessr on YouTube. And as I was, I'm currently living in the Czech Republic, but I don't know the country very well. I was like, oh, this could be a cool way to kind of like learn, this typical Australian, four-wheel drive. I thought it could be like a cool way to learn about the country. And then I was like, well, maybe I'll do the easier one of the country I might know a bit more of, Australia. So yeah, this is probably slow down. Oh yeah, I should also be on the left-hand side of the road. I'll get to see things. Okay, so it's a bit hilly. Still just trying to find a major, like, sign. No. I kind of wonder whether this is... It looks weirdly like I wonder if it's Melbourne, actually. Somewhere around Melbourne, because they have these ways of controlling the traffic. And I wonder if, but at the same time, like all the like the palm trees around the place make me think like Brisbane. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is like a suburb of Brisbane. Flagstaff doesn't ring a bell, no. That's why I wonder if it could be Brisbane, because it's like of the sort of like the big cities, it's the one I know least about. Like I've only been there once or twice and not really looked around. And I think if you're a big enough city to have like these kind of traffic controls, but I feel like we should see something soon. Oh, hold on. Oh, this must be something. Here we go. Oh, South Australia. Okay, so, oh well, all right. Where are we? Southern Expressway, Darlington. So we must be in Adelaide, right? Like this must be like I don't think anywhere else in South Australia would have so much like would be built up enough to have. So actually, I've had several friends who have moved to South Australia recently. So I'm sure they might all know where Flagstaff is. And also there was like, it was coming into the Great Southern Highway, which I'm guessing is this A1. So I wonder if it's on this side. What were the Flagstaff like cultural center or something? I wonder if we need to see another, like, because this also had a bit of Sturt Run, Shepherd's Hill Road, use Marion Road. Oh, there must be some like place names, right? This is looking. Oh, here we go. A14 and A13. Okay. A14. Have to be a bit further in. Yeah, it must be in here somewhere, right? A14, A13. So it's somewhere where you could turn, like so we must be on the A14 and we on Marion Road, and we can go on, turn right onto A13, and we're going north on the A14. Like, what is this actually called? Oh, this is Marion Road. Okay. So we must be like, oh, Flagstaff. Okay, okay. So, oh wow, we're really quite central. Oh, this is Flagstaff Hill. So this is probably where we were. Zoom a bit, please. Yeah, I might be a bit behind. But Flagstaff Hill, that's where we saw the, yeah, that's where we were. And I think we must have been coming in on this, so I'm going to go back to the start just to see actually where we were. Salvador Street. And we went up this way. So we went east. And we kept going east. And then we hit this main road, basically. So I reckon we're somewhere around here. Maybe. Yeah. I think I'm just going to take a guess, you know, in the interest of time. It's around here, I think. Oh, I got a badge. I was 1 kilometer away. Okay, so we're around Flags. Oh, this is Flagstaff Park here. Okay, so yeah, but you know, not so bad on the scale of Australia, I guess. Yeah, yeah. Maybe I should have had a bit more patience. But yeah, so that's it. I got a medal, which is probably good that I know something about Australia. So 23,300 out of 25,000. So yeah, not so bad. Hopefully. Yeah, but maybe I'll do some geoguessing streams another time as a specialized thing, I guess. Yeah, but it's fun. It's fun. You get a weird kind of rush about it, and I think 5 minutes would be even more. Maybe 10 minutes is the right amount of time. Like if I'm just by myself, I think 5 minutes. If you're not trying to talk and do anything else. But yeah, I think 10 minutes is probably it's the right for streaming. I think it feels like relaxed enough that you can try and do it. And yeah. But yeah, well, thanks everyone for tuning in. It was it was a very loose definition of hour for the Board Game Design Variety Hour. But yeah, I had a lot of fun, and thanks for hanging in, those who've stayed the whole time. Hope you all have a great evening. Have a great weekend. Anyone doing any game design, playing any games, anything like that? I'm gonna hopefully be playing some games this weekend. My partner's museum has had to shut with the lockdowns again, so we should have some time by ourselves. But I guess we're also going to be doing some Christmassy stuff and decorating our tree a little bit more. In the Czech Republic, you dry like slices of orange and then hang it on the tree. So we're going to try and do that over the weekend, I think. Yeah, so have a great weekend. Enjoy any Christmas traditions you're doing. Enjoy games if you're doing that. Enjoy design. And yeah, I will be back on Monday, same time, same place, 5 p.m. Central European time, 4 p.m. GMT. And oh yeah, Robert's going to be doing some playtesting and number stations. Yeah, how's it going? Is it a lot of fine tuning now with number station? Bass is playing Smartphone Inc. and Pandemic Legacy Zero are on the following days. Oh, that sounds great. I'd like to try Smartphone Inc. It looks really interesting. Have you played it before? What do you think? Yeah, well, I hope the playtesting goes well, Robert, as well. Yeah, I don't have a lot of playtesting to be doing, I think. Oh, thanks, Baz. Yeah, no, actually, no, I don't know. I got more into it. I mean, obviously, playing games, it's like a different part of your brain, so it doesn't feel like I'm, I don't know. But if it's interesting or whatever, yeah, okay, well, enjoy the games. Yeah, I was tempted to buy some games for Christmas, but then I realized, because I like having something new to play around Christmas time, just to explore something new. But then I realized this year I've probably bought the most games I've ever bought, because I actually bought quite a few games when the first lockdown happened, because I thought this was a good chance to try things. Rob's changing a major scoring bit, so lots of work. Okay, but it's encouraging. It sounds like you have a good direction for the thing. And you're going to try and geoguess around the UK. Oh, yes, we should. I wonder, you probably can do a challenge. So, Robert, if you do end up doing the UK, can you find some way that I can do the same map? And maybe I'll do the challenge on another stream, because that's the other place that I should be reasonable at after having lived in the UK for about 10 years. So I didn't think about that. Obviously, UK is also another place I should know reasonably well. But I've been fortunate enough to travel to a lot of places, so that I think maybe geoguessing is going to be something that comes. I used to be a big geocacher as well. It's not the same thing, obviously. Geocaching is where people hide physical objects in like little boxes and then post the GPS coordinates. I used to be really into that, I don't know, like 10 or 15 years ago. So it could be your first go took us to a remote part of West Scotland. I love West Scotland. I was in the Isle of Skye and like Mull and up above Glasgow like a few years ago. It was really beautiful. An unsolved geocoding puzzle was inspiration for Number Station. Oh wow! Okay, really? Oh, that's really cool. Oh, I'd love to. Yeah, I'd love to chat about how that came about. Yeah, I love the kind of the meta around geocaching. I remember one geocache was like 4 different countries. You had to have a team in like Australia, the UK, Germany, and I think the US. And like you would find you'd have one set of coordinates for the Australian team, and then that would give the coordinates for the UK team. They'd find something in the UK, and you had to do like 4 rounds of it, and it was really, really cool. It was such a, yeah, I don't know how big it is still. But and I know with smartphones, it's a pity I'm not more into it now, because obviously with smartphones it's way easier. When I did it, you had to have like a separate GPS unit and you have to kind of be prepared for it. Whereas now you can kind of do geocaching anytime. Some friends of mine did a whole series of puzzle caches about board games as well in North Yorkshire. Oh wow, are they still there? I'd love to go. Oh well, maybe that would be a cool thing to go and do. Yeah, well, I have really fond memories of geocaching. Actually, I always really want to do my own geocache, but I always moved around too much. Yeah. Nicholas been resorting all my physical stuff, prototype sketches, etc. But a workflow with that, so more like designer infrastructure, I guess. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I need to do some prototype bit sorting. So like I don't do it all the time, but like you can see, like I just dump bits that I've kind of used into just random containers, and then at some point I have to kind of like put everything back together, because I like I need to. I have like kind of like jewelry boxes, like plastic jewelry boxes, which have like little compartments where everything's organized. But I kind of like get to a point where like a maximum entropy of chaos, and then I sort everything out again. And I should do that soon. But yeah, it sounds cool. Yeah, I had a really, when I moved here and I got to kind of design my office, I bought some really great IKEA shelves. They're sort of they might be like 70 or 80 centimeters wide, and it's about a little bit like a meter tall. And there's like 6 shelves in that, so they're kind of long and low shelves. And that's worked out really well for organizing things as well. But yeah, so that's good. But I still got lots of boxes everywhere. Robert, it's still better with a proper GPS. Phone batteries don't last long enough. I fit in several, and people still do my puzzles in Leeds city centre. Okay, I didn't know you from Leeds. Yeah, I'll have to. It's pretty, because I have been to Leeds a while ago, but I haven't been for a little while. But that sounds really cool. Yeah, that's really cool. Maybe I should get back into geocaching. Another kind of related thing was, and actually, Nicola, you pointed out this video. So there's this, there are these sort of famous, they're reasonably famous YouTubers in Czech Republic called The Honest Guide, and most of the videos are about like tourism in Prague and other parts of the Czech Republic. But they recently, they do other kind of cool things, and they started as journalists, so they do some really cool things about looking at like taxi drivers ripping people off in Prague. And they just recently put a video where they marked physically the north, west, south, and east like limits of Prague. So they calculated where it was, and then they made these huge concrete like bollards almost that were like emblazoned with like Praha North or whatever. And then they actually literally installed them at those points. And then they've like put them on a map so that people can do like a kind of a trail around like the limits of Prague. And like Prague is the limits of Prague are quite far away, obviously, from the center. One of the funny ones was that the westernmost part of Prague is it's actually technically inside the international airport. So they had to like put it just a little bit far enough away from like the security fence, because they realized it was probably not good to be like digging up some ground and like putting some concrete thing right next to the airport fence, which is sort of fun. But yeah, you can check it out. It's called The Honest Guide on YouTube, and it would have been one of their most recent videos. But that was also kind of a cool thing for finding things. I'd like to do that. Nicholas asked the name of the shelf. Let me have a quick check. IKEA, yeah. I mean, I guess the great thing about IKEA is that the names of the products, no matter where you. Oh yeah, I've got a. Wonder if I can find it in the UK. Because it automatically takes me to the Czech site because I'm based in the Czech Republic, but I can't search. Shelves. Let's see. Oh no, they're drawers. What am I doing? Shelves. Yeah, I think it's this actually. I think it's called Alex. Hold on, let me find that. I'm actually pretty certain it's Alex. I'm just trying to find the actual ones. Oh yeah, this is it. This is the one here. yeah, this is the one I've got, and I got it in blue. So it's on wheels, which I don't really use it for the wheel side. It has these kind of 6 shelves. Yeah, and I've really liked it actually. They're like three of the shelves are like quite shallow, and the other 3 are a little bit deeper. So yeah, it works out pretty well. No, it's been really good. Okay, we are almost at 3-hour mark. I probably should say good evening to all. But thanks very much for sticking with it. I hope you've enjoyed the stream. If you've enjoyed the game stuff, do let me know. Maybe I'll have one stream a week where I'm just doing like GeoGuessr or Tiny Islands and stuff like that, because it's been a bit of fun, which is good. Have a great weekend, and I will catch you all on Monday. Enjoy games and Christmas stuff in the meantime. Right. Thanks, everyone. Bye. Oh, I should actually, before I go, should we raid anybody? It's always nice to raid somebody. Let's see if anyone's online. No, nobody's online. Any recommendations for someone we should raid, or maybe I'll just leave it. If anyone in chat's got raiding suggestions, it's always a nice way to find other streams, I guess. But I guess everybody probably needs to eat as well. So yeah, maybe we'll just leave it. Cool. Oh, M Peebles just started. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's go to M Peebles. He didn't come up when I tried to raid. Let's see. Oh yeah. Okay. Cool. Right. Let's raid. Raids. Okay. Well, thanks everyone. And yeah, see you next week. Cheers. Let's see. 3, 2, 1, go.